The ClevelandMoto podcast is brought to you by Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0.
Welcome to Cleveland Moto Podcast, episode number 339. Light them up. It is a very big thing for us because this is going to be our post-Mid-Ohio wrap-up. We've got a lot of things to say.
No one died?
Nobody died. Thank you very much. Yeah. And for people who weren't paying attention, right after we left out of Mid-Ohio, I had a number of Santa Cruzians to wrangle. And so I wrangled all the misfits, and I got them home, and we got back to the house, and everybody had a nice, they had a day before they had to fly, which was very cool.
Except for Bagel, who rode 72,000 miles home.
Bagel had to go back from whence he came.
Fucking savage.
Means, you set all the records going out, and you're a hero, but then you have to go home.
Yep.
And that's tough, man. That's fucking tough. So, yeah, getting back, it was really cool, and having the Monday to let people just fucking decompress was so important. And we did one of those, go to the neighborhood restaurant that I've been going to for 25 years, bomb in on the place, and just be like, I would like all of your breakfasts. Because during Mid-Ohio, we ate like raccoons.
Yep.
Except for when Chris showed up.
Right.
And then when Chris showed up, we were like, well, we won't need to be going to the restaurant for these 2 nights.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he brought in all the deliciousnesses. So, to my left is
Oscar.
And to his left is
Steve Sleepy. And I rode, because we're actually a motorcycle podcast. So, Oscar, what did you ride today?
My car.
Okay.
the
RAV4.
I pulled the blue 850 out of mothballs and rode that today.
Yeah, we could hear it out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Sounds like you need to go up a little bit on the main.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe just a tiny bit. Yeah.
Take the rack off. It's a lot of work. So.
There you go. And then to his left.
Johnny Mac.
And to his left.
I rode the Versys.
You did right. The Versus. And to his left.
Chris Franklin.
And
I
what
rode
did you ride?
My AK-550.
AK-550. You can't not think of an AK-47.
Nope.
It's like, okay, so it's an AK-47, but it's chambered in 5.50. Wait, I don't know. Maybe that's weird. I'm not familiar with that caliber, but we'll work with it. It's just a neck down 5.56. It's perfect.
So, compared to the other guy that bought one, that decided the front end needed to be more compact.
He did. He decided to park it in another car.
Right. So he's having much success with his.
His is longer.
Yeah.
His is what they call factory length. Whereas opposed to that other dude's has the highly desirable shortened front end, the short wheelbase, SWB.
It turns in much faster.
It's the SWB Kimco AK-550. Yeah, it's a very precise handling, very crisp. It makes a lot of lefts, no rights. Yeah.
Well, at least there's lots of extra parts.
We have a talking about fun stuff. You guys know that I get super excited when we have a new copy from our sponsor, Manscaped.
Ooh.
Nice. We have a new copy. I love a new copy. I love it when somebody else goes to the trouble of writing things for me to say, and it makes me real happy. So we have new copy, and it is space themed.
Ooh.
I don't know exactly why it's space themed, but it is space themed. So when I make my fingers do this, I need all you guys to make some sort of space music sounds. Ooh. Now, it can be whatever you want it to be. I don't care. But then when I stop my fingers, I'm going to cut it off. Okay?
Thurman?
Yeah, that's good, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, Thurman or Thurman Munster or whoever you want to have. All right, we're good. Strom Thurman Munster, we're cool. All right, here we go. Attention to all men across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston. Did I?
You didn't do that.
Right?
I thought you said until.
No,
right?
I said when I do the key.
Okay, start over.
I thought that was the key moment, start. I'm like,
yeah, me too. All right.
75% of my podcast got that right. Okay. That's like a solid
always
C.
the fucking sound guy.
It's a solid C.
Damn
all right.
Steve.
Are you ready?
Steve that.
I gotta get that. All
Just
right.
edit it out. It's fine.
Attention to all men across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston. Do you have a pube problem? Ooh. If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with the Performance Package 4.0. The orbits in his pants will feel like they're in zero gravity when he uses the best tools for the job from the leaders in male grooming.
Ground control to 4.0. Ground control.
Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get your rocket ready for takeoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code ClevelandMoto. That's all one word, ClevelandMoto.
Pew, 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 pew. My streams need clipping, and I'm leaving the capsule.
All right, perfect. I think that was a wonderful read. I'm so proud of us. So when we got done with AMA Vintage Days, which we will talk about, I promise. Oscar and I, though, not to be outdone, on Wednesday decided we would fuck off to Denver. And we did.
Like you guys, so we had a full Mid-Ohio Vintage Days. Like to the point that on Monday I was like, oh my God, I have to go to work.
So it's 4 days.
And I had to take vitamins and all kinds of things to make myself go to work. And then you guys jumped in a car and just said, fuck it, we're going to another thing.
Oh, yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah,
Cheers.
we did. And what we did, and if I may be so bold, is one of the best organized and longest lasting motor scooter rallies in that place we call North America. And this is put on by many different clubs, and they take turns. Okay. And the event is called High Mayhem 24. If you look on the screen behind you, you'll notice what the theme was this year. Because it was put on by my club of many years and also Oscar's new club. Because over the weekend, Oscar became a full fucking blown Jedi. He didn't have to get blown fully.
I was going to say, how does
Just
that,
a little bit.
how does that feel?
Well,
How did it feel, Oscar?
I don't know, but my ass hurt
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, Jedis do have a bit of a ritual for new members.
what happened?
Well, what happens, Oscar? I'm gonna let you read them in.
Well, they have something they call the spank machine. And it's probably the most attendees Jedis in a long time, right?
Oh yeah, and so there's different levels of spank machine. There's spank machine.
Are you being spanked, or are you the one who has to spank it?
Oh no, there's a high intensity spank machine, and then there was the atomic spank machine. We had, I believe, over 20 members of our Jedi Knight Scooter Club, which is worldwide, and we had them all in one place. It doesn't happen often. We had a boat full, actually.
Yep.
So we had a boat full of Jedi, a small boat, large amount of Jedi. And it was decided that the time was right that we were going to make Oscar a full-fledged Jedi. He's been my Padawan for the past 2 or 3 years. He has not known it. But honestly, look, nobody has ever fired it up like Oscar has in multiple countries. Yeah. So, I mean, like, we took that shit to England and it worked. We took that shit to the Isle of Man.
So do you get a cut? Like, do you get a cool guy cut? Like,
you do get, like, so if you have a kick-ass Padawan, like if you've got a Padawan that everyone's like, that dude should be a motherfucking Jedi, or we can't wait to make that guy a Jedi, you get a little bit of prop for that because you got the cool Jedi, like you got the cool new Padawan. And some of that shine does rub off on you. Now, speaking of rubbing off, the spank machine is basically where all the Jedi in attendance line up and form a chain, like a caterpillar or a centipede. Centipede.
A circle jerk?
And
Horrible movie.
Well, it's a centipede.
It almost did.
And then you all bend over at the waist, right?
So a circle jerk.
And you all bend over at the waist, and your legs are as spread as they need to be, depending on the size of the Padawan.
Sure.
And then the Padawan has to crawl between your legs. But as he goes between your legs, you just let her rip, baby. Now, I don't know whether it was good planning or bad planning, but the rally prizes, like best shitbox, best Vespa, best Lambretta, were legit fucking paddles.
Wooden paddles.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wooden paddles. That said,
Oscar was like, thank you very much for that.
way to go, right?
Yeah,
So everybody was armed. Right? My spanking in was at Niagara. Might have been a dozen Jedis in attendance. They shaved my head. They shaved my eyebrow. They shaved me in strange ways. Manscaped wants no part of that shit. But oh my God, considering the clippers that they shaved me with were garbage battery operated clippers, I pray to fucking God next time they have a Manscaped. I got shaved in, and then I got spank machine. And Oscar went through by far the most ridiculously overpowered atomic spank machine I'd ever seen.
And then Oliver was the last one with 2 fucking paddles at the same time, just like went to town on
that
me.
had spanked him going in, like spanker number 1, 2, and 3, had gone back to the end of the line. So I don't even think he understood.
No, I lost sense of where the fuck I was.
Yeah, he was getting double and triple dipped by some people. So well done for walking out of that one alive.
Mm-hmm.
But because they decided the Jedi Knights can't do anything normal. The Jedi Knights Scooter Club is, there's a lot of rules, like you have to build your own bike. It's not just like, oh, there's a George Lucas thing. It's very trendy on Disney. We were doing this shit when Star Wars was like, if they ever make another movie with Jar Jar Binks in it, we're going to leave the whole fucking, the whole series behind. Because like this was the era of time when the Jedis were created, was the best, most fresh thing going was, oh, me so happy, Annie. And that's not good for anybody.
Misa.
Yeah.
Misa.
It's terrible. So... But this club's a very, very old club. It's been around for a long time, at least 25 years that I know of. And this particular rally was put on 100% by the Jedis. And that's a lot of moving parts. And they stepped up. And Ame in particular, one of our club members, she just fucking ran it. She dominated it. And the event is a solid 5 days. And it's 5 days of just, if you know the Jedis, you'll understand that is not a normal 5 days. That's a drug-powered 5 days. Because that's another element of the Jedis is they never seem to run out of energy. They just grind their teeth incessantly like chimps. They're just like, I'm great. I'm cool. That's cool. I'm not ready to go to bed. I don't need to go to bed this week. I'm fine.
Yeah, every day we're going to the hotel like at 4 or 5 in the morning. Yeah. Denver time,
right. Yeah, that was every day was 4 or 5 in the morning, and that was me doing the bullshit like, oh, I'm the one driving the van, so it's time to go, boys and girls. And Oscar's like, thank you, man, thank you.
What time are you guys resuscitating the next day?
Oh, no, you don't.
No,
you catch a solid 3 hours, go have a steak and eggs, and get back in the game.
Okay.
Yeah, you pretty much run on negative numbers.
Spray a few lakes, rally, and get back in it, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
Much.
That's exactly right. Adderall, turns out it's not just for learning. Yeah. There's a bit of a 2-input situation with that drug.
Well, and there's also, like, at Mid-Ohio, you can get so high that you just become normal.
Right. Yeah.
So you just do the whole fucking thing. And
I guess I'm awake again. Yeah. Most scooter rallies, they'll have the club that's running the rally will put together a kick-ass scooter, or they'll go talk to a sponsor and get somebody to donate a scooter, maybe not so kick-ass, and they'll sell raffle tickets and they'll give the fucker away and they make a couple of bucks.
Nice.
At this rally, they had a 1960s beautiful patina original running like it was brand new Vespa VBB, which is a beautiful old bike, all the curves in all the right places. And then for the younger folk, they had an Italjet Dragster 50 with a Melosi 70cc kit and pipe and all the Go Fast bits on it. Yeah. So they had that. And then they also had a boat. And so they had a 1960s tri-hull blue fiberglass boat that was fucking gorgeous.
So if you won that in Denver, you'd be taking a boat home?
Yeah, and we were planning.
We tried. We definitely tried.
I mean, I'm not trying to say we rigged the raffle or anything, but what I'm saying is we bought some tickets. Yeah, right. And as Jedi, we're not allowed to buy tickets, so Merritt had to buy a lot of fucking tickets, right? Yeah. And it was fucking cool. Like, it was a really great rally. The rally was bonkers the whole way through. The mountain ride legit goes up into the mountains above Colorado, and you're like, I don't know, fucking 10,000 feet, and you're like, okay, great, take the picture, we got to go. Yeah,
and it's probably really warm up there too.
It was cold and raining sideways.
Cold and raining, yeah.
And then the road we were on, the sign said pavement ends a solid 3 miles before we stopped.
Going downhill.
And then, where we stopped for the photo op, our buddy Phil Lombardo comes out, and he's a legend too. And he comes out and he's like, okay, so just letting everybody know, the road out of here is Tretch. And so we're going to let everybody go one bike at a time. And when we don't see you anymore, we'll let the next bike go. And
that never works.
Oh, no.
No. Within, and like for the first 3 bikes, they were like, okay, the first shuttle's away. Hooray! And then it was like, go, 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 go. And then it looked like snout to tail the whole way.
Yeah.
But with
You and I used to do that. You would okay, one of us is leaving first. We're not going to race home.
Sure.
And then, sure enough, whoa,
Yeah.
okay.
We're not racing. It feels like racing. So we were going down this incredibly steep, declining, it's like the dragon if the dragon stopped being maintained a long time, and it was really, really bad, and there was no pavement. But there was also more water than God had ever thrown at a gravel road, right? And so there's little rivers going everywhere. And, I'm on a bike with 12-inch wheels. I got Scoot Baka. It's unkillable. But a lot of these guys are running on 8-inch wheels.
With a spring in the front?
You loosely call that a spring.
Yeah. Well, actually, on the way out, my bike barely made it because it was I could feel that the car was choking with lack of oxygen. I didn't change the jetting at all. Right. So by the time we got all the way to the top, I was like, please just make it to the just
I'm
make
watching
it
Oscar, and Oscar's like 45. 40. And these changes weren't happening slowly. It was like 30, and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to put a foot out and push him in a second.
Yeah.
My Scoot Baka normally wheelies, no problem. I can wheelie Scoot Baka. It's a Vespa GTS 250. It's got all the right parts in all the right places. And I can wheelie that thing, no problem. Right. I couldn't scare a wheelie out of it in Denver to save my life. Done. Yeah. I can wheelie Buddy 125s on the idle, on the choke. And couldn't do that with the Buddy. That altitude does take away 25% of your power.
Mirror didn't have any issues with the Buddy, right?
No, the Buddy ran great. Buddies are buddies. You can't kill a fucking Buddy.
Tanks.
So that was great. And she was like, initially when we were all lined up for the big ride, and we're all we're at this place called Casa Lambretta, and our buddy John Croge runs it. And all the bikes are the coolest vintage 60s and 50s, 60s, and 70s bikes. And you're like, Merritt's like, and I'm on a fucking Buddy. Why do I have to be on a Buddy? Why am I on the plastic scooter? And then halfway through the ride, Merritt's like, I never loved that bike so much in my life. Everyone else is shifting through 3 gears to make one turn. Yeah. And Merritt's just like, I'll pick my line. And away we went. But it was a long ride.
Awesome twisty road.
Tons of twisty roads.
Yeah.
Super fun, super cool. Came back, and then I got soaked through to my uterus. To my mother's uterus. I've never been so moist in my life. I was moist. And everybody was moist. Yeah. And there was no, dudes were wearing a t-shirt. Like a guy went on the ride with a t-shirt. Thumbs up to Denver, though. Every person on that ride was wearing a fucking full face, except for yours truly. I'm wearing this old, Italian pudding bowl, the dumbest helmet in the world. I'm like, everybody. This isn't the helmet state. This is helmets are optional in this state, but 100% of the people are wearing legit headgear. Yeah. And legit headgear, and the guy's wearing a t-shirt on a ride where it's going to rain. And I was like, okay, I didn't feel so stupid. But we come back into the Gymkhana, and our buddy Pavlo designs the Gymkhana. And the Gymkhana, if Pavlo designs the Gymkhana, it's designed to eat your bike. It's basically meant this isn't going to be doable, but the crashes are going to be awesome. So get your cameras ready. And I told Merritt, I'm like, I know you're hungry. I know you want to meditate. I know there's things you like to do in the afternoon that I'm not involved in. But I really want to be back in time for the Gymkhana. So I'm going to be hanging out at Sportique for the fucking Gymkhana. And Merritt's like, okay, great. I'll be getting food. So my wife, off she fucks. And that's great because I had a little less pressure then. And so then I look at the Gymkhana and I realize we're all going to die. Nobody's going to survive.
Got a bad feeling about this.
No shit. Yeah. First dude out in the Gymkhana eats shit 6 ways from Sunday. Crashes 3 times in the Gymkhana on a Series 1 Lambretta that was fucking hot shit. Yeah. And he broke parts of the Gymkhana because he was just throwing his body at it hard. And so now that little tickle in the back of my throat turned into a full-on everlasting gobstopper. And I was like, ooh, this is going to be ugly. And then a dude goes out on a Stella and just launches off the first ramp into the stratosphere. And I'm like, oh, my heart hurts. Why does my heart hurt? I'm going to have another beer. And so I had signed up to go third. Yep. And then the organizers assessed the situation and they went, Phil, your bike is far too heavy. Every other bike here weighs 240 pounds. Your bike weighs 350 pounds pre-fur. And the fur was all wet. And so they were like...
Now you're at 675.
Yeah, exactly. 678 in the fro. Right. And so they're like, you got to go last because your shit's going to fuck up our Gymkhana. We'll play the video on the thing, but what I presented to them was the world's least dramatic Gymkhana. If you look at the Gymkhana, you'll swear to God I'm going to get milk. Like, there is nothing about that Gymkhana that is in a hurry. I'm in self-preservation mode.
There's a few that I was like, oh, he's not going to make this.
Yeah.
Like you were like watching the video.
Right.
The seesaw was pretty slick.
The seesaw was a mess.
The jump was good.
Yeah.
The balance beam.
The balance beam.
You were about a half an inch from not having a good day.
And if you come off of it, it's one cinder block high. So it's exactly the height you can't recover from. And it just catapults your skull into the ground.
Yeah.
And I was like that. But my level of anxiety, because they're like, you got to go last. And then Ella, who is our friend Colin Shattuck's daughter and has grown up her entire life fixed to a scooter, did it on a genuine scooter company, Black Cat 50. It's a good bike for the job.
Nubby bikes,
yeah, good bike. And that fucking sandbag hazard, which killed everybody, it got her hard and threw her on the ground. And she heroed up, picked the bike up, and was like, let the fuckery commence. And she just nailed it. In a dress, and she never stopped charging. Like, she charged hard the entire time. So I was like,
I didn't understand this. Why? Obviously, I wasn't there, but just looking at it, I didn't get the sandbag hazard. Like, this was dumb.
I think the idea was they had made this sort of a curved ridge on sandbags, and in the perfect world, the scooters would ride on top of the sandbags.
But they broke.
Guy number one ripped all the sandbags open.
Right.
So then it became a different kind of a hazard where you just couldn't go.
Right.
So you basically had to just carry your bike through it. Yeah. And
I thought you were in a planter.
It felt like it, right?
I thought, when I first saw it, I'm like, why is he in a planter shooting?
I went last, and by the time I got there were 4 cat turds in it. Yeah. There was no getting around it. That was not a fucking obstacle. That was a litter box. That's all that was. I was like, well, I'm here, but I'm not joking, you guys. I know we played games and we talk shit around here, but I was legit frightened. Like, I was legit frightened going into it that I was going to eat shit on either the teeter-totter or the balance beam, because I was like in both.
You almost launched off the teeter-totter.
Well, that's the thing. I think it was the second or third guy broke the cinder block.
Yeah, he cracked the cinder block.
We had to use the cinder block that was used on the other part of the Gymkhana.
They stole from Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
It was fucked up.
That was the second cinder block in there.
So if it wasn't dangerous enough, we're taking structural elements away from other fucking challenges.
Why not?
Why not? And if you watch the video and you see me getting up onto the balance beam, the whole board I'm on just straight up bananas out. It's just... I might as well have just tried to go from the ground bunny hop up onto the fucking
That's
thing.
Where the other cinder block was.
Yep, that's where it was. And that's where the one you fucking stole.
Yep.
So that was cool. So you have all these events and people win prizes. Oscar nailed the slow race.
Oh, yeah.
Oscar was straight up untouchable in the slow race.
Until the guy that's won it 6 years in a row.
Exactly.
Yeah. John, at Mid-Ohio, John was challenging everyone to a slow race. Did that ever happen?
Nope.
Nobody
slow mode me.
I said a slow roll. So that was cool. And the prize for winning the slow race that Oscar's actually kind of happy he didn't win was, I'm going to call it 35 pounds of 7-inch records. And they were all slow jams. And so Kyle, who has Kyle purchased 9,000 records in one massive buy. So she went through and she hand curated a whole ridiculous box full of vinyl that is all songs that is only good to have sex to while wearing a Muppet mask. The very bad choice, very eclectic group of albums there. But this is super cool. Lots of fun. So that's what we did. We went and did fucking High Mayhem. And we just came back. We got back from that on Wednesday.
So what about the bike that you rode in the water?
Oh, fuck that bike. Okay. Now, I wasn't prepared for this, but I'm going to say it. I've ridden a lot of sketchy shit in my life, and I have ridden. I wish there was a video of that. Why is there no?
Because Jedis.
Okay. Why is there no video of me riding this fucking horrible thing? So this horrible thing in question is called the Suzuki Wet Bike, and again. Whoever decided that we weren't going to call jet skis boatercycles is an idiot, because yes, boatercycle is the right name for all these things. Nice. So, but this is the Suzuki Wet Bike. The Suzuki Wet Bike is what came out before somebody figured out where a center of gravity was, before science had come into the equation. And basically the bottom of it is a jet. It's just a little, an impeller jet based thing.
It's a water speeder.
It is a water
Exactly.
speeder. Okay.
Yep.
There's a picture that I just pulled up of a gentleman flying through the air on one. You can't do that. That was dropped from a helicopter. Basically, you spend 90% of your time on a Suzuki Wet Bike upside down. This picture right here of the gentleman sitting on one like that, that's photoshopped, or he's in 1 foot of water. Because if you've ever ridden a non-mechanical bull, or if you've ever done the game at Cedar Point where they have the rope that has a pivot on it and you try to climb the rope up to the top, that rope is made of wet bike. There is no better way to put it. You could make a 9-hour video of just people trying to get on a fucking wet bike, and it'll never end, and it'll never stop being funny. I hurt my balls at least 3 times.
Oh, with the jet trying to hang off the back?
No, it turns out this is what you look like 90% of the time on a wet bike. So if you want to know, that pose on the wet bike is called "It's Fallen Over and I'm going to Power Out of It." You never win on that pose. Once it gets to that pose, you should just take a mouthful of seawater and wrap your body, like hit your body on the hardest thing you possible.
But does it do, like, I remember, like, my buddy had one of those stand-up jet skis, and I was trying to ride that.
Right.
And before you know what you're doing, you're laying way too far off. And when you hit the gas, the jet just knocks you in the dick and then blows your pants off. So now you're pantsless and you're in fucking pain.
That's a pretty good explanation of it. And so what happens is, if I could say, let's just take a 55-gallon barrel. Let's take a 55-gallon barrel. But now let's put it in the shape of a square, like a big rectangular. Let's fill it 75% of the way with water. And now I'm going to get you out in the water, and I'm going to dare you to stand on it. And what happens is every time you get the thing lined up, you approach it from the rear. And like I said, it's like trying to fuck a plastic rhinoceros is what it looks like trying to board a wet bike. And that's the way you do it. They have handles put in place just for it. And you grab it, and you put your feet on the ramp at the back, above the jet, below the jet, and you do a frog move, and you leapfrog onto it. And then while you're leapfrogging onto it, because the one we had wouldn't idle. So while you're leapfrogging onto it, you're grabbing the start button and the choke and the throttle, because it wouldn't start at anything but full chat. You're doing all that stuff at the same time and praying for thrust, because thrust is all you've got. If you don't thrust immediately, all the water in it will move to one side or the other side. And there's the world's most pathetic bilge pump, just peeing out the side of the boat constantly when it needs to be fire hosing. So yeah, I've been on every side of a wet bike you can be, including crashing it so hard the seat came off. And if you look at the motor, see where the flywheel is in the motor? Oh. See where they put the flywheel?
Oh, yeah.
See where that is? There's metal teeth that go the whole way around that engage on the starter. Yeah, my arm got it, every bit of that. Yeah, so I was like, fuck that thing. So it's a dumb vehicle. The Suzuki Wet Bike is stupid. There were 3 people. That straight up were the only people that rode it, that could ride it, outside of Scott, who just has it because nobody can ride it. He brought it out just for this reason. If it wasn't running, like straight up, if that thing wasn't running, I would have made it run just to fuck with my friends. Like that would be the only reason to have wet bike on the planet. It's a dumb thing.
Well, if nobody's on it and it's just sitting there, does it float or does it roll over?
It floats, like I said, it floats like a 55-gallon drum.
Okay, so it's
constantly wanting to be upside down.
Right. Gotcha.
So its natural state of being is upside down, and you're trying to fight it, but like you're laying on it, and it's starting to go. So you're like laying more of it over here, and like you're laying more of it over here, and you can't ever get it upright ever
unless it's moving.
Yeah, unless you have forward thrust. And so if you have forward thrust, well, then you've got a shot in hell at that point. But you don't almost ever have forward thrust, and it is such a pathetic vehicle that I do feel one thing. I feel one thing about it very strongly, and that is that it is a good time capsule for looking back at prototypes that should have never got built. Like, because everything in the world, we all know, there's every kind of vehicle in the world where you're like, I wonder what came before the snowmobile. And you look, and it was kind of another snowmobile. It was a little dumber snowmobile, but it was a snowmobile. If you look at an actual Wave Runner and you look at this, they shouldn't be in the same planet. This thing does look like an igloo cooler.
Exactly.
Fucked a speedboat. Right? It's just the dumbest goddamn thing. And these guys, the joy, the rampant exaltation of my life when I got it up on plane and I was able to go. And then the one guy who knows the lake that we're on is like, I'm still well inside the wake zone, like the no wake zone. So Scott is yelling, go slower.
No.
Message not received. Fuck you. Right? But then he's like, go outside of the buoys. And I'm like, that's too far to swim back from dragging this piece of shit. So I'm going to stay in an area where I can crash into 4 feet of water and stand up and not drown.
Right.
Because I know that right now, when I hit the water, the child-sized life preserver they gave me is just going to end up being a ligature. I'm fucked, right? So I got the thing up to whatever maximum speed is, which is like 14 miles an hour. But it feels like you're going 1,000.
Right.
And then a big boat goes by, you know, pulling like a tube or something, creates the wake. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to hit that wake. It'll be fun. No. It's like riding a Vespa with an 8-inch wheel and saying, I'm going to hit those furrows. It'll be fun. Because then basically all that happens is 10 gallons of water gets pushed by the front ski, goes out 2 feet in front of you, and then all goes in your mouth. Or it hits you in the face like a Three Stooges cartoon. I hated this thing so much. I did one giant loop of it. I did a big giant loop, came back around, and I was like, that's where I need to be. That's where I'm going, and I'm going to get there. So at some point, I made the mistake of like, okay, I'm going to chill out. Here's the no wake zone. I'm going to slow down, and I'm going to execute a left turn.
Oh, no.
You can never do all those things at the same time. There is just no way to do it. So what I should have done is I should have said, I'm going to speed up.
Right.
And I'm going to throw my body off in that general direction. I'll skip into camp, right?
Yep.
And fuck the bike. I don't care about the bike at that point. Just somebody else can have it. And I did. I tried to make a left turn. And when I tried to make a left turn, I tried to give it like a 1% left turn. And the bike went, oh, you want to go backwards? And I was like, shit, I guess I'm going backwards now. And the bike straight up, the bike edged in, because there's no fucking edge. And I ride snowboards and shit. Like, I know the way stuff works. And when it started leaning over, we all know that when a bike is starting to lean a little too far, you add acceleration.
Yep.
And so I just had it pinned. Like I just, and of course, me being me, I'm like, I'm going to take this thrust as far as I can take this thrust. And if I'm underwater while I do it, so be it. And so I turned it into a little ugly submarine, and me in the world's ugliest submarine. It blasted the seat right off and hit my dick. Like the seat had no chance. It just erupted out. The seat coming off threw me off the fucking thing. I held onto it with dear life the whole way down. Not that I was worried about losing it, because at this point, that's the best thing that could happen to anybody. If they got to go out and spend a week trying to find this thing, I'll pay the guy.
The owner comes up, he's like, finally, here, here's some money.
Dude, can you sign the title? Because the EPA is going to be looking for this thing, because it's a 2-stroke. And it's like a 19% 2-stroke, right? So, yeah, I was straight up. I fucking hated it. I hated it. And then our buddy JD, who's bigger than me, like, I'm 6'1" and Jason Dietrich's 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
So watching him on top of this was like watching a cigarette trying to balance on an olive. Like, it was the dumbest thing. So I'm trying to hold it for him and coach him. And I got him to the point where it was like the motor was running, and I was like, okay, here's what's going to happen. I want you to gun the piss out of it, and I'm going to hold it until I can't hold it anymore, because we're like in 3-4 feet of water. So I'm like, I'm going to hold it until I can't hold it, and I'm going to jump the fuck out of your way. And then you're going, and then don't ever stop until you get to Kansas. And he did. And like straight up, it was like, he just went, and I was like, okay. And then when I couldn't take it anymore, I dove out of the way, and that son of a bitch.
You nailed it. Yeah.
Again, what you don't know about wet bikes is for the amount of time that I spent on a wet bike, I'm now a wet bike pro. It's true. You do one lap, you're a pro. You get the shirt and everything else.
But how much do you want to ride it again?
Dude's an expert. Jason Dietrich is now a wet bike expert. He can tell people how to ride wet bikes. I'm a wet bike pro. We will make T-shirts. There's 4 of us that get T-shirts. Nobody else gets a T-shirt. Hodge gets the opposite of a T-shirt. Hodge went around 360 on the thing several times, barrel rolled. I thought it turned into an alligator at one point.
So is it just a bike unless you diddle it right and then it becomes a wet bike, or is it just...
No. You're wet from the time you see it until the time you get off of it, and you're wet a week and a half later, and you're wet putting it on the trailer. It's a fucking piece of shit. Like a wet bike. And now I'm gonna have all the people who are like wet bike fucking evangelicals.
Yeah.
No, it's the greatest, watercraft ever designed. Bullshit. Fuck you. Do you know there's a reason I know it's the worst thing ever? Because it immediately was replaced by the stand-up jet ski, the Wave Runner, and all the little versions of those things and the bigger versions of those things.
Dude, the lipo-powered fucking, what do you call them? The things with the fin that go down. And,
the surfboards.
Yeah, but
it's got a hydrofoil.
Hydrofoil.
It's a hydrofoil.
Yeah. That beats that.
And the whole surfboard and the chick is like 3 feet out of the water.
Yeah, it's just a little fucking thing.
And she's just like, I'm bored at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
She's flying through the air, and she's like, okay, I'm going to crochet and shit.
That exists
because the
now.
hydrofoil is all underwater, and I'm like, that shit is so photoshopped. But it's not. It's real.
Not. It's real.
Yeah. Whereas the opposite of this.
Right.
So this is the opposite.
That's my point.
This is saying we're gonna give way of all hydrodynamics whatsoever. It's fuck you. You know what this is? This is a jet ski dark side conversion.
Right.
I was waiting for this.
So there was a whole bunch of action because with the Moto Stories thing, I still get the stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a guy saying that you and John don't know shit about shit.
Yeah, he's sitting at the table with us.
No, it wasn't him.
Yeah.
It was another guy. So I said, it's all opinions and it's all on how you ride and things like that. If you're going to the Dragon every day, dark side's probably not your best friend. If you're on a Goldwing doing 70,000 miles on a fucking highway, maybe that'll work for you. Or as Chris says,
I'd like to do a dark side conversion for next year. I'd like to collaborate with Chris.
Okay.
And we're going to take it over to the Burnout pit.
Oh,
shit. 75,000 mile tire on the back of some big
literally
old
do a Burnout
nasty
for a week and a half.
And just sit there and fucking...
You know what though? You know what we got to do?
Turn dinosaurs into sound.
And I think that XS 1100 would be a good candidate.
Yeah.
But you know what we got to do? We got to get the things from Australia so you can have blue smoke or pink smoke.
Oh yeah, pink tires.
Yeah.
You know, you should find that post from YouTube, right? Because you're talking about a YouTube comment?
Yeah.
Because fuck if I don't think that's me. No shit, I think that's me.
I don't think that's me.
I think this guy's from Maine. So
Okay, might be safe. Because I did comment. I'm like,
he's a maniac.
You need the dark side. It's a smooth ride. And you're like, it depends on who you are. You fucking don't know anything.
You don't know anything. Look, I will say there is that sort of like that overwhelming sense of like whether or not it's right or wrong. I'm getting a lot of miles. Okay, so if you watch this guy, the reason I brought this up is just because I think it's important that people understand the real operating principle of the wet bike. That's how it works. That's doing it right. Okay, so you saw him go in the water once. All right. Okay, here you go. That's how you do it. You're doing it right. You got to fuck the rhino.
you got to mount it.
You fuck the rhino. Okay, now it's not started because
it keeps bobbing sideways.
Okay, so here it goes. Yeah. All right, now you got to stay on top of that, baby. Go the full 8 seconds.
Those fucking handlebars gonna stab you.
Oh,
Right?
it's such a dumb thing.
It's like a BMX.
Right? So he goes. He's got the thing on. Now he's got to start the motor. Oh, wait. Nope. You got it. No, you don't have it. Yep. Now do that 3,000 more times. If you do that 3,000 more times, your nuts will hurt like mine do right now.
But you know what?
One of the worst experiences, I was at a wedding rehearsal or whatever, and it was down in Annapolis, and they had wave runners or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I went out on the wave run. I did okay for a little bit. Well, then I fell off out in the middle.
He's down again.
Well, so then my one buddy, so I'm trying to get back on the wave runner.
Right.
Well, my buddy is doing circles around me the whole time. He's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "I'd be all right if you weren't fucking doing circles around me, chopping it up."
Yeah.
So he's like,
He's creating a whirlpool.
So I'm like getting up on it, and I'm at the very weight limit of what this thing can take. You know what I mean? Like,
it's probably an older one. It's probably not that
it was
powerful.
not meant for the 300-pound dude. You know. Now when we were back at the dock, I could get on it and get it and go. You know, but. And I started, and I tried, and he kept going, and like 6 times. I'm like 7 times. I'm like, and I get on it, I get plugged in, I get it started, I get it going, and then fuck it, twist it right into the ground.
Oh yeah.
Ended up they had to come out, and another guy, little skinny guy, jumps on, and I held it for him.
Right.
And he had to take off, and then came back and towed me back like a whale.
But dude, the stand-up jet skis, these wet bikes and stuff, none of that is fun. None of it. I mean, I don't care what you say.
Right.
The stand-up ones, if you want to do like wheelies and stuff for 5 minutes, maybe that would be fun. But it's not fun to ride.
I want like a big 3-person one.
Yeah, you're not going for 4. Like you see these people on these big turbocharged sit-down ones, and it's like a boat. They're all drinking and hanging out and riding. Yeah. That ain't that.
Oh, a 3-person jet ski or a 4-person jet ski now is 1,200 cc's. It's 160 horsepower. It has more power per weight than any yacht on the fucking anyone.
They have brakes now too.
They do have brakes. They have reverses.
Yeah.
Yep. They have hookups to drag like another boat. Yeah. It's not even.
But you know what? It was comedy gold for all of us on the beach. So thank you so much for
Rob Hodge
taking one for the team.
Rob Hodge in particular was not going to let that thing win. And when I handed it off to Rob, I was like, I handed it to Rob, and Rob had that look of like self-assuredness and confidence that told me he was going to get well and proper fucked. And he's like, I got this. And I was like, you don't have this. And he's like, I totally got this. And I was like, okay, one, I got on it immediately after the guy who owns it. So when he came in, he did the whole James Bond walk-off thing, like he'd done it a million times. And I walked up and I was like, your table's ready, Mr. Bond. And it was cool. And then when I got on it, Scotty gave me that look like, this is going to fuck you up. But I was kind of glad I was second, because then I only had to be in Scotty's shadow, which is a decent place to be anyway, right?
Right.
You're like, I'll take his handoffs. That's solid stuff right there. But then when I got on it, it took me like one of like the talking to fish thing. And then once I got back on it, I was like, I'm not going to do that again. And I went.
Right.
And so I went, and so I didn't have a lot of...
I think that's a win, that you got it up on for a minute.
When I came back in, many people I know were like, okay, well, you check that off your box now, off your list, right? And I was like, you bet your ass I did.
Yep.
And like, you're going to do it again? I was like, no, I'm going to, like the next one of these I see, I'm disabling.
But you added it to your resume. Your LinkedIn, now says professional wet bike rider.
Yeah, that's right up there with this Chrysler SnowRunner.
It is. When that's the other, and then, you know what? This guy's got one of those too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
he's a glutton for fucking.
This guy's got all the stuff that isn't supposed to work, and he loves it all.
Yeah.
Right? And it's for real. But when I handed this thing off to Hodge, I was just like, dude, you are gonna get so screwed. And he did, and he got screwed. He got so screwed. I was trying to help him, and then my fuckometer ran out. And I just had no more fucks to give. I had no more fucks. And I was like, I'm going back. I need a cigarette, another beer. And away I went.
Well, you reach a point where they'll get waterlogged. That's what was happening to mine. Now after you fuck up once or twice, now it's filling up with water. Now it's almost to the point where it doesn't want to float.
Well, again.
And that's why like somebody else had to come out. We had to get somebody on it and run it to get all the water
blast
out.
all the water out of it. Because this has a bilge pump that just never stops running. It's an electric motor that just, I'm sure in his driveway right now, it's just spitting water out of it.
Oh, that's good, because the wave runner I was on was it only worked when you ran it.
Well, the bilge pump in this thing is because its engineering is that it carries water above the water level, which is just dumb. Like the water should never be above the water level. There's like whole principles about that, right? You know?
Oh.
Yeah, the Greeks made a lot of money on that shit. So, but it's not even like carrying around, like having a wet bike is one thing, but having a wet bike that's full of water is an incredibly different thing. It's not called the Suzuki water tanker. It only works when it's fucking bone dry. Otherwise, you're just bringing sand to the fucking beach. And the other thing I learned real quick is that it turns out you look at it and you watch a guy get on it. You're like, the smart thing to do is take it in where it's shallow because it's tall. And you put the ski, the ski's under the jet. You put the ski on the sand and you put the front ski on the sand. And then you climb on it because now it's just a kiddie toy. And then start the motor and just fucking go. And apparently that's exactly what you do if you want to buy an impeller.
Yep.
So if you want to buy an impeller.
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
That works.
Jet skis and things like that, you don't want to even, like when you come near shore, shut them off.
Well, yeah.
And when you go back out, a lot of guys will clean all the mud and rocks out.
Well, so Scotty hipped us to this whole thing. He's like, well, you don't want to get on it anywhere you can get on it. He goes, if you put your weight on this thing, if you put your weight on the back ski and you push your body mass pushes it down to the mud or the dirt and the sand, if it pushes it down to the point where you can actually use it as a stable platform, you're failing. So you need to push it out into deeper water. And I was like, says you, dickhead. Like,
not mine.
We're never going to get anywhere. The whole idea is when I get forward on this thing, it's going to shift and it's going to, the jet's going to come up out of the mud and it'll be fine. And I understand physics. Bring it on, Archimedes. I'm in. But I yelled at for that. So apparently.
Yeah, well,
if I took a fucking year off the life of that fucking 1981 Suzuki Wet Bike, you know what? Good.
When the impeller goes, it's right now like, oops, done.
Again. Can I shoot it in the face now?
That would have been great.
Right. It would have been the best thing ever. What did it do? It launched a 97 feet of line and a small child and an anchor. Okay, great. What do we get to do now? We get to kill it.
A few hours later, people are like, where's Phil? And he was outside stabbing the wet bike in the
I hate you. It's the dumbest thing ever. Yeah, that's our wet bike podcast. The only episode ever of the ClevelandMoto Wet Bike podcast. And then we looked and there was no other wet bike podcasts. They'd all died. Yeah.
So before you guys left for Denver,
Yep.
we attended What year was this?
So this was depending on who you ask, the 23rd or 22nd running. But you see, the AMA Vintage Days swap meet grew out of being other swap meets. Right. It used to happen in Columbus. It moved around a little bit, but let's just say, I mean, I've personally been to a shit ton of them, like in the neighborhood of 20 of these.
The Will Stoner days.
The Will Stoner days, of course, like don't say anything bad about Will Stoner. So it was really great. But yeah, this has been going on for a long time. I did talk to Serena Van Dyke from American Motorcycles Association, and she assures me that they were record levels of attendance. However, they did not achieve 100,000 participants. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound shocking to me. There were tons and tons and tons of people. Now they've never achieved 100,000 people, but I think they're waiting for the track Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course to tell them, because I think that AMA has to come out of pocket based on what the attendance was. Right. So somebody's going to have their finger on the scale this way, and somebody else is going to have their finger on the scale this way. So I don't know if we'll ever know the actual real number.
Well, I can tell you that Wednesday night, when we locked down me and you went and I locked down the spot.
Yep.
There was me and crazy dude, whatever Pete or whatever his name was. He was an all right guy.
There were like 4 people in that campsite.
Yeah. And then we woke up on Thursday morning, and by that point there was 50. Yeah. And then when I woke up on Friday, they were turning people away. So within
we'd filled it.
Yeah, it was insane.
There was no space. And when you figure that at least 75% of those people didn't sneak in, that's a pretty big number. It's a pretty good, it evens it all out.
I did accomplish something on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I got super high and super naked and ran around in the field.
Oh, you did? Randomly, just like
naked, just running everywhere.
Just me and the lightning bugs.
I just wanted to be at Mid-Ohio and be natural.
You were as natural as anybody's ever gotten.
And the only guy that was upset was Pete. Or whatever his name was. Yeah, Clive, or what was his name?
He was the guy with the CD-175.
Yeah.
And so he had that red CD-175. He was just all too happy to roam around.
He was so stoked to be there, man.
Well, you weren't the only one to get naked at Mid-Ohio.
What? Really? Oh,
well.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah.
So
we have video of
that. So Mid-Ohio, we'll give you the basics. The basics were, we had a fucking great time. Yeah. This is Chris's very first time going to Mid-Ohio. When did you get there?
I got there Friday. I want to say 9 o'clock.
9 a.m.
Yeah, 9:15.
Yep. Taking a pretty big bite out of it.
Yeah. Spent, a good 3 hours looking for your ass. Kept playing the podcast. It's as far as ways you can get in the campsite. And I'm looking around. There's people fucking camping everywhere.
Yeah,
what do you mean campsite?
No, you're right, because the rules went away as far as like what was a campsite, because the main road was a campsite.
Right. There was stuff everywhere.
Was a campsite.
I never, driving in, saw the big ass sign that said campsite.
Oh, yeah.
Never, because everyone kept pushing me down for my car, and I'm way the fuck away. So I walked for like 3 hours before I texted you and said, "Where the fuck are you? I'm done. I'm renting a golf cart. I'm going to pay the $300, $400. By the way, it is almost $400 for a golf cart for 3 days. Don't ever fucking do it.
We weren't making that up.
No.
That's proven, yeah.
No. But I was done walking. I was done helping people push their fucking bikes everywhere, right? The first one, I'm like, oh man, you need a hand with that? I don't know where I'm going anyway, so I'll walk with you. He goes, yeah, if you don't mind. And then I came across someone else. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm walking that way now. I don't know where the fuck I'm still going.
That way now.
And then third person, I'm like, what the fuck? Why does no one's bike here works? And like, oh, we bought these. They don't run. I'm like, wait, you fucking knew this? Get out of here.
You knew it was not running. It didn't let you down.
Right? It didn't let you down.
There's no romance to this story.
No, so I got the golf cart, and it was the best money because I didn't push another fucking bike the rest of the time. Done with it. But I mean, I was everywhere that you weren't.
Right.
Like, I mean, everywhere you guys weren't. I was in the fucking woods on some trail on this golf cart thinking, I'm getting this thing stuck and I'm just leaving it here.
Yeah, walk away.
Right? Yeah. And I mean, 3-something hours of just trying to drive around. And I kept walking in the same areas.
Oh, circle back through.
Right? Because I never thought, there's the track, because huge track. Right. Never thought to go around it, though.
Never thought you'd go in the backyard.
Right, because it says exit that way.
Yes, it does.
And I never would have thought there would be a whole nother campsite at the exit.
Yes.
And Sure shit there was.
And if you've ever been married long enough, you'll know there's a whole other campsite at the exit.
So I finally it was in this nice shaded wood area, and there's all these big ass RVs everywhere. And you had sent me the picture and you said, we're here. And I'm like, what the fuck good does this do me? Like, I don't know the area, let alone this picture helping me. So I just realized I'm going to find the most redneck person ever possible, because they've had to have been here for years.
Right.
And I said, where am I? I am completely lost. And he goes, oh, you're on the wrong fucking side. He goes, you got to go on the other side of the keyhole. And I'm like, whoa, I don't swing that way, but I appreciate it. Like, how the fuck do I get here?
Right.
And he goes, no, just go and just keep going. And when you think that you're in the wrong spot, just keep going straight. And then I did that. And then all of a sudden I'm lost again. I'm like, who else doesn't have teeth around here?
Right, yeah.
You, sir, where am I? And he goes, just go around the exit, and there's the campsite.
Yep.
Then I found you.
Exit. The secret is to go where you
So what you're saying is we hang out with a bunch of teethless.
I just feel bad that one of us hadn't given you a number and everything.
No.
You have my number in your phone. Call me anytime you have a question or anything.
I like how long he waited before exercising the bat signal.
Okay. Right, because you've mentioned this multiple times and laughed at people. You're like, yeah, they think the bad signal's two-way. That's not how this works. And I'm like, I'm not going to be that jackass that's going to prey on a bad signal that he's going to laugh at me on the podcast. And then finally I'm like,
I'm on the party line.
Fuck this.
Oh, man.
Dispatch all signals.
Right.
Hit them on all frequencies.
And then the first thing you reply is, you're like, hey, we're going on a grocery run. Fuck you, you're doing a grocery run. I've got a cooler full of shit.
We didn't know.
Oh, wait,
Right? Nobody knew.
Let's break this down. It's not a cooler.
No, it's a car.
You brought Aldi. Like
He brought the right half of Giant Eagle.
Yeah, right.
It's a reefer truck.
He's like, I need some help loading this. So I was like, I'm game. Let's jump in the golf cart and go. I had no idea what I was in for.
No.
We were strapping shit to the side of the golf cart.
Well, hey, I told you when you got in, number one, I got a cooler and I don't know where the fuck I parked. Right? I don't know where I am now or then. So,
but this was the first year. This was such a crazy year for us. I think as a group here, as a Cleveland Moto.
Right.
Like anywhere we went, me and Oscar would be somewhere, or me and John would be somewhere. And since we mentioned the bikes we were riding, like, you know, what we bought to take, people were like stopping us, like, hey, SP250, hey, you're Cleveland. It was fucking crazy, man. So, hey, thank you to all.
I got flagged down by a number of people who recognized this and stuff. And the podcast. It was kind of cool.
It was really cool, and we were totally appreciate it. Like, me and John were talking, like, that was really special. Like, people actually, like, you know, we do this, and like, there's 5 of us, sometimes 7 of us or 8 of us, and we look at each other, but we don't realize like who's listening.
At one point, I ran into a female listener, and she said, "I thought you'd look a lot better."
Oh my
I think it was she's like, "I thought you were," or it's the guy that she was with was like, "Yeah, she said she thought you'd look good," and I was like, "Oh man."
So he threw her under the bus, and you went with her.
I'm like, I guess I should fix myself up a little bit. I mean, 3 days wearing the same T-shirt, no hat, fucking dirt on me. And
but I did get to meet the youngest podcast listener, like a 7-year-old. Christopher, I think his name was, on a 90 motocross, fully decked with the whole suit.
Yeah. Oh, that was so
because he was with his mom, and he was like, go ahead and talk to him. And he's like, well, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I was on top of the booby bouncer, and I was just looking at shit going on, and all of a sudden I see a kid looking at me.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck, right? And the mom's like, go ahead, talk to him. And I was like,
and the kid looked at him and went, Romanticus band.
my hero.
Yeah, super cool. And I started to talk to the kid and just like
everybody was so
they
cool.
were
We
pretty
met so many cool people this year, man. It was so fun. Oh shit!
It's like not even kidding. So if you're looking up at the display, you know what I think is hilarious is where Chris was looking for us. I'm going to show you if I could take a second and show you guys. Here's the way that it works. We are camped here, right? So this is the very back corner of the campsite. Chris was in the infield over here by where the M is in Mid-Ohio. That's where the Wall of Death is. And they pulled all the people that had the those special passes, what they call it, hospitality passes.
Yeah.
They put them in their own special parking area.
That's where you were?
Yes.
It was amazing.
Jesus.
You could get out of your car and walk right to a place that gave you beer you paid for, right? So that's where that was. And then he went all the fuck down here and everything. But this whole area was just like it didn't exist to him.
No.
Because this is the exit.
Big sign.
Yeah.
Big sign says fucking exit. So I'm like, why am I going back the way I came?
Meanwhile, and by the way, I love that this satellite picture was taken, and the motocross track is still in the satellite picture, right? So yeah, the keyhole and everything down here. So this is what he's talking about. You need to be on the other side of the keyhole. But yeah, this area right here, that's where we camp. Is the very.
You can see the barrel roll, the barrel races over there, right there.
From the barrel racing, right there. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And actually, it kind of looks like that would be where the Vajayjay is,
And you
right?
can, you can still see Pete's scooter and him sliding down the hill.
Dying over there in the corner.
Pete and him are over here.
Dying,
Yeah, that's where they are.
That's where I got poison ivy.
They're still fucking with that.
Right there.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, for people that haven't been there, you know. So, Chris, what's your opinion of things like, you know, safety and population density and
wow, yeah. So that's kind of crazy. So safety is a catch-22, right? Because felt completely fine.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But like everywhere I turned, like everyone was pissed off. I was in a golf cart finally, and they wanted to go faster than I was.
Right. Yep.
And so everyone's just buzzing around
and
you.
You weren't in a good golf cart. You were in the last golf cart.
Yes.
You were the one that had been returned several times for lack of propulsion.
Yeah, you could walk faster than this thing could, but you know what? I wasn't fucking walking anymore, so I didn't care.
You were good.
I feel so bad. We had bikes. We could have.
No.
We just wish we would have.
It was all good. Really, honest to God. I had a great time, and I got to explore that whole thing, and I met all kinds of people, especially down almost by the street. You can see where, if you keep going down a little bit, like all the way down there, I kept running across them. I'm like, this is the fucking farthest corner from this place.
Yes.
And you're camping. Do you know ClevelandMoto? And they're looking at me like, huh? And why have you seen you like 3 times?
Right.
Like, but yeah, safety-wise, honestly, it was like the golf cart. I had to return the golf cart, and I ended up leaving it. Right. You know, and nothing evidently happened to it and whatnot. I mean, people left everything out.
Yeah, it's Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, it was great. It was insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. Ton of people everywhere. You don't know where to look, and you can't look everywhere at once.
No, you can't.
And you're gonna miss shit.
Yeah, if you're looking over here at this crazy thing, your buddy's gonna be like, "You just missed the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life," and you're like, "What? Okay, do it again."
The swap meet was ridiculous. I mean, shit from all eras.
Yeah.
Some of it out on tables under nice looking tents. Others just piled into a back of a fucking trailer and a sign that says $10, and you're looking for anyone around, and there's nobody.
No.
Right?
It's an honor system.
Yeah.
You leave $10 in the jar and you take what you want.
I mean, it was crazy. And so, yeah, safe-wise, during the day, I felt great.
Yeah.
Come nighttime, I was like, yeah, you know what? You guys party harder than I ever fucking will, so I'm out.
At nighttime, it gets a little weird.
And there's Trailer Park Boys had the bottle kids.
Yep.
Well, Mid-Ohio has the Unicorn
Girls. Yeah.
The Unicorn Girls, 3 of them on one motorcycle beat me. 4?
Yeah,
No, I'm
I
talking
got beat by
in the
4.
barrel racing.
Yeah.
I got beat by 3 on one motorcycle, and then they gave me the finger and then laughed at me at the same time. And then those are the same girls that were in golf carts running people over later on. So they did not give a fuck.
So that's interesting, though, because you're right. One of the things that I found amazing was the age range. Everything from I can't walk on my own, but I'm still on 2 wheels or in a golf cart, all the way down to I'm looking at this kid going, you can't be much older than my kid, and he's only 5, and how the fuck are you on 2 wheels? And just by yourself shooting down fucking like, I don't know what you'd want to call them,
and
side
on a
streets.
1972 RM80.
Right.
That, can go 100.
Right?
Right, yeah.
Even that little kid that was doing the not a ramp.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, he was having a great time, and I'm going around like, you were just by yourself, and no one gives a shit.
Yeah. No, because you know what? In this particular environment, I'm not kidding you, at AMA Vintage Days, all right, kid, those are all your parents.
No.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
And I think that's the way it goes. I think it's just like, all right, well, you know what? We vetted this area for being just generally decent people on motorcycles. So, you know what, Timmy? This is the chance to go just fucking free range, man. Just go be a feral little freaked out little fucking kid. Get dirty and muddy and just hang on other people's shit.
I mean, people are going to swoop in the second somebody gets, if a kid's broken down or has a wreck or something like that.
No questions asked.
Yeah, people are going to be there to help.
It was very cool.
And how about the fucking weather?
Yeah. Okay.
The
So
whole fucking time.
the whole fucking time, and then Sunday night when we desperately needed it. Sunday night when our party power was down at about 1.75. Right then, when I was like, I need a good excuse to leave this fucking shit show. I'm going to do an Irish goodbye to this whole place. I'm just going to fade back into the shadows, and then go sleep. And at that moment, God said, my gift to Mid-Ohio is 3 hours of light rain. And it was the best sounding rain that has ever been produced. It was so perfect.
Hey, when did you guys leave?
Leave?
Yeah, when did you leave the premises?
Sunday at like
No, that was
2 p.m.
Saturday night.
Oh, Saturday.
I'm saying Saturday.
He said Sunday
Oh,
night.
yeah.
Sunday morning. Yeah.
Sunday
morning.
Oh, yeah, I was underneath the canopy with you, and that was fucking beautiful, man.
Oh, my God. There was the point where we were just like, you know what? There was a fire that needed to be put out.
Into this
Oh, it's perfect. Me and John, we were underneath his canopy, and we had some people that we didn't want to talk to anymore.
Yeah.
And the rain came, and then they left.
It was good.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay here with John, and we're just going to enjoy this. It was good.
I got in my van, and the van was just like on the roof. I was perfect. I had the vents open. It was like it was heaven. And I was like, I'm gonna get 6 hours of sleep at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, right.
And I did. I slept so good. And it was like that was the perfect. It was like Mid-Ohio, after paying dues for how many years, had decided they were gonna just pay it all back, and it was the best.
You know what the worst?
Saturday really worked for me because I cruised hard during the day.
Oh yeah.
Got pretty good and lit up. Was having a great time.
Yeah.
Had some painkillers,
yeah.
whatnot, and then wham, steak dinner. ate some or whatever. We had steak and other stuff.
yeah.
And it was like then after dinner, I was like, oh, I don't feel so good drinking. And then then it started raining. I hung out with Cinch for a while, played some music, and then I'm like, great, let's go
Now,
to bed.
when we went,
it was good.
when we went down to the Burnout competition on Friday night, so we went down there on Friday night.
It wasn't that big on
It
Friday.
wasn't that big on Friday. It was pretty mellow. It was just Burnout competition. It was, a lot of people, a lot of music and everything else.
Sure.
And I saw this dude about 6'5" or 6'6", wearing the chaps, and the rainbow underwear under the chaps, and I was like, wow. And he had his also equally statuesque girlfriend with him or wife with him, who was also wearing just panties, like also rainbow panties and chaps. And I was like, and then I looked at her face, and when you look at somebody and you realize like they're like a wizard or like a witch. And I looked at her and I was like, you're a fucking witch. Like, but she was like big and like she was a goddess. Like she was a straight up goddess. And the dude that was with her was like the only person that could ever be with her. They had found each other somewhere, probably Burning Man.
I saw them just like slithering together,
they just
dancing to the music.
They were in their own fucking world, right? So when I saw this girl, this lady, I saw her on Friday night, and I was like, wow, you're fucking spectacular, right? And she's like, thank you. And I said, you're a witch. And she goes, I am. And I went, because you don't get this opportunity much, right? And I figured, right? Okay, so I figured I've been in this situation before because I'm usually drunken naked with Naked Jim saying, witness me, and my face is silver spray painted. This has taken years off my life in previous vintage days.
Yeah.
So I saw this witch and I was like, I need you to cast a spell of invincibility on me for the rest of the weekend. She said, I can't do that. That's not how magic works. She goes, but I can take every bad thing you're going to do and I can put it in somebody else's brain and they'll do it. And I looked at Pete and I said, that guy. And she did it. And she did. She threw some chicken bones on the ground. She danced in a circle, stepped on it, and fire came out of her mouth. And all of a sudden, from that moment on, any bad thought I had, Pete from Moto did.
Yeah.
And it was magical because my body didn't hurt. But his was getting worse and worse and worse. Every 5 minutes, I'd be like, it'd be awful if somebody did. There he goes. That would be the dumbest thing in the world if somebody right now went, oh, look at that. And she was right. She's a witch. Look her up next time. She's in the corner, Louisville corner, and she's a witch, and she can do that for you.
Well,
yeah.
To your point, how amazing and how strong Vintage Days is.
Yeah.
On Saturday, which I have it on film, it's in the video.
Right.
Go to the channel and see the video.
Right.
Michael Hutchison from NXS
Right.
rose from the dead.
He did rise from the dead.
And did a burnout. And then also motorboated boobs. And did the whole thing.
And then he summarily hanged himself Sunday morning to go back.
Yes. Right. Yes, he did. Yeah. So that was fucking interesting.
It was really cool. I mean, that event. Now, one, we have to remind ourselves that Noco Moto is a fellow. They're people we love. Those are podcasters.
Yep.
We love those guys. They're fucking great. Swiggy and Pete showed up to party, but
They represented.
They represented hard.
They did it hard.
But man, it's a week-long event.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. They not only did they represent hard and do things that saved your body and our mind and other people's from embarrassment.
Oh yeah, we could sit down
pain,
and watch. Yeah.
But they never got to the point of being annoying.
No.
And that's a special thing, because there's a lot of people that come to party and they want to show off and they want to do their fucking, like, I want to fucking go crazy with you guys.
That's only you, Steve.
This year, not so much.
No, you did well. You did well.
Thank you.
Pete stepped up.
No, but these guys, not only did they step up, they maintained the line.
Right.
They were like, I'm fucking
absolutely
crazy,
true.
but I'm not annoying. That's fucking hard to do, man.
Yeah.
That's really
it
fucking hard to
absolutely
do.
And without fail, Pete never became mean.
No.
Nope.
Pete never became anything but pure love and energy.
Nope.
But the pin fell out of his brain. Like that one real important pin fell out of his fucking brain.
But he did during the naked burnout scenario. He
Yeah.
tucked. He pushed it under and was just
I
sitting on
don't
it.
care. I don't care.
I only had to blur a little bit out.
I don't care. I don't care.
Well, he did have about 12 inches at one point, but there was no.
At one point, the captain, and I will quote, said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! No jerking up on the bike." Now he says he was trying to do a helicopter.
Right.
Oh,
So anybody looking, it looked like he was trying to.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Which I still give him lots of points for that.
either way.
For real.
I'm like, that's a first.
Yeah, that is the
Yeah,
first.
that counts.
Yeah,
Man,
I love
was
how
that
the-
one of your fireworks? Because that fucking thing lasted for 35 minutes.
we pre-gamed that
It's
too.
still
We let
going
one off.
right
That was
now. Yeah.
that was.
It was impressive. Like, I was like, oh, they're going to light a firework. It's going to last a minute.
We had to have one that would last as long as the burnout.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, for real. I mean that particular Pete earns all of the everything.
So, was he trying to get into the... What was he doing? Like,
What do you mean? What was he doing? What was he doing? He did it all.
No, I know he did it all, but like, was he trying? Like, was there an initiation to get into something?
No, it turned into I want you to do a burnout, and then it turned into okay. Then Liza
Liza was kind of
kept
engineering something.
adding items from the a la carte menu. So every time we would get to the point where it was like obviously, this is going to happen and this is going to be a weird thing, then Liza would add another item to it. And she'd be like, no, I want you to have a firework coming out of your butthole or something, right?
Right.
And it just never ever got to the point where we were like, okay, this is probably a bad idea.
Well, he definitely was down for anything, because when me, Liza, him, and a couple other people went on an excursion to the mud hill, I had my newly acquired KE2 100 that Oscar rode back, and I hadn't really rode that much yet.
Yeah.
So I went and I hit the top of that. I had no brakes, so I went
Yeah,
down
you
the
did.
hill into the river and back up the other side.
That's
but I
pretty
looked
badass.
back and he was on his Vespa.
Oh, yeah.
And then he decided to do it, and then all I saw was sliding Vespa and broken him and things sliding down the hill. But he was never mad. He got to the bottom.
He
and
kept smiling. It was a fucking clear case of yard sale.
Oh, yeah.
There was no point when that stopped, when you were like, okay, all right, he's done enough damage now.
Yeah, no.
No, because we found him at the hill climb bottoms out to a creek, a river.
Yeah.
And the river has impossibly large boulders in it that a 10-inch wheel bike can't get through under any
Oh,
circumstances.
no, and the water was 2 feet deep.
Right.
I mean, I was in the middle of it.
It was impassable on
yeah.
a 10-inch wheel bike and arguable on a 21-inch wheel bike. It was trouble. And so, as he comes waddling through the river like the world's worst otter, like he looked like Emmett Brown's, like he just looked like just trash. He looked like Emmett Otter's
Christmas.
He looked like Emmett Otter's Uncle Randy, right?
The Snake Bottom River Band.
Is the River Bottom Nightmare Band.
Nightmare Band.
He looked like those guys. He looked like all of those guys. He was fucked.
Yeah.
And so we had been kind of like, we'd gotten to a point where we realized, as Liza says, everywhere was up.
Yeah.
There was no more down. We tried down. We'd gotten to the bottom of down. There was no more down. And all the up was well out of our range of vehicles we had.
Oh, yeah.
And so, fair enough. So we realized that Pete is not going anywhere on that Vespa. And the Vespa's making noises no Vespa's ever made and lived, right? And Swiggy's there, and Swiggy's on the Stella, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And she's on the Stella, and Liza's on a borrowed Buddy. Now, first of all, anybody who can score this knows that Liza's going to survive. Because you can't kill a Buddy.
Nope.
Like, a Buddy is legit an unkillable entity. You say what you want. You're like, oh, it's a Taiwan scooter. Fuck you. There's nothing. Lake Erie Loop couldn't kill a Buddy.
Nope.
You can't kill it. Whether it's speed or endurance or giant monkey head gravel.
Or neglect.
The Buddy will survive. They are made out of baby doll parts. Like when you see a 747 crash and there's no humans left, but there's just baby doll parts, you're like, what are those baby dolls made out of? Those are made out of Buddies. Those are Buddy 125 baby doll heads. You can't kill them. And so I was like, fuck me, man. So Pete's bike was going nowhere. So I told Liza, I'm like, you know, we're going to figure this out. And Liza's like, I'm going to get a bigger bike and a tie-down strap. And I was like, neither of those will help us. Because honestly, you can't tow a two-wheeled vehicle out of something that you can't get out of yourself.
Right.
If you can't make it out alone, how are you going to make it out pulling something else?
Well, I was drunk enough that she sent me to go get my SB250.
She did?
And I did. And I went down, and when I got down there, they were already not there.
The plan I made was, since we were in a very major intersection, that the appropriate sized vehicle would eventually wander along.
Right.
And eventually it did. It said Bobcat on the side, and it was a four-wheel drive farm implement that was rented, which I found out you can rent these, and I'm always going to rent them from now on. Oh, that's my new vehicle of choice. I'm going to go to fucking all whatever they are, you know, all trades, rough trades, and I'm going to rent a 4x4 Bobcat utility vehicle, which literally is meant to go
anywhere.
The Kubota that we have is a diesel 4-wheel drive.
That's what this thing is.
Thing goes
anywhere. It cannot be stopped.
And
that's
go
what
through
this
a tank trap with
the Bobcat was. Same thing. Probably the same lineage. So this guy comes up and he gets stopped because he can't go through Pete. Right. And Pete at this point is an immovable object because he's still trying to start this bike. And I'm like, as long as he's trying to start that bike, nobody's getting past him.
Right, yeah.
I told the guy, I was like, you know what, dude, you are in the absolute best place ever at the wrong time. And he goes, what? And I said, so this is the way this is going to work. You can either help push this thing up the hill, or we can pick that thing up and put it in the back of the bed of this thing, and we'll put our thing in your thing, and you'll just scamper up the hill like you're going to do anyway. It's going to take you like an extra 2 minutes, and everybody's going to be happy. You'll be the hero. And I'm like, and if you take us all the way back to the campsite. So we get to the top, and it did climb out of there like nobody's business. That was full fucking mountain goat. And that thing was like part donkey, part mountain goat. It couldn't be stopped. And so, but, you know, Pete's in the passenger seat. And this is the first time Pete's been out of the driver's seat in a while. And so Pete's like, "Rrr." So we get to the top of the hill, and this guy's like, I got to tell my friends that I'm going to fuck off to the campsite for a minute. I was like, we'll make it worth your while. Trust me. Nobody's ever been let down helping us out of a jam. So I'm like, whatever you like, we have it there. So whether it's like drugs or liquor or money, we have all of it. If you just want to have like a 30-minute BB gun session, we got you covered. Right. We'll get as weird as you want to get.
We even have Liza.
Again, which is a whole other thing, right? We know wherever you swing, we've got rope. And it was so good. And this guy was like, yeah, I'm in. So by the time he went to tell his friends, hey, I'm going to fuck off to the campsite, which they all decided to join us, by the way, which I thought that was hilarious. All of his proper dirt biking friends were like, let's see what this campsite's about. And if this mutant came from the campsite, we need to go to the campsite. Because they were like, there might be more of him there. Yeah. So he missed the bus. The bus left. Literally, the fucking Bobcat with his bike in it left. I was leading, and I was just like, train goes this way. And then I looked back, and I pulled next to the Bobcat. I'm like, did he get out? And the guy's like, yeah, he got out. And I'm like, okay, we're responsible for the bike then. And so Pete had got on the back of the Stella with Swiggy. I was like, no. You know, it's one thing to have a drunk person on the back of your bike. It's another thing to have a drunk person that's got 40 pounds on you. And a super duper drunk person that's got 40 pounds on you. And I think when we got back and the bike that we had pronounced as being dead, like, came back to life. And when they got the fucking bike back to life, when that bike came back to life, you saw Pete go from, I've lost everything, to, I'm going to bring this around. And he'd already done $9,000 damage to a $3,000 bike.
Yeah, definitely did.
And he was like, I'm going to rescue the night. I'm going to do a burnout. on my brother's bike.
Yeah.
What? Wait a second. I checked the rules on that one. I'm like, no, I don't think that counts. I don't think we're, no. But
and
then,
I'm going to put my nuts all over it.
And then again, yeah. Okay, so first of all, I'm your brother. That's fine. But you're not going to put your poop on my seat.
Exactly.
Right. Unless I'll take the seat off of your bike.
Clorox wipe stat.
Oh, my God. But you're, okay, the firework on his helmet ran for 3.5 minutes, easy.
Oh, more than that.
When it popped,
like 5.
it actually popped out and then it exploded. So like it went snap and it flew the firework out like 3, 4, 5 feet and then it exploded.
It was still going off on the ground.
We couldn't put it out. I kept stepping on it.
And
It wouldn't
the
go out.
fiberglass helmet was on fire.
It was melting.
At some point.
Yep.
So that was good.
And my dumbass is like, these two big dudes were like, we're holding bikes, man. We're the bike holder guys. Like, we're the bike holder guys. That's what we do. We're the bike holder guys. You pull in the Burnout pit, we're the bike holder guys. And I was like, I don't like bike holder guys. I like it natural. And I don't want anyone holding me, right? I want to be fantastic.
Get your filthy mitts off.
I was so angry last year when they tried to hold me, or 2 years ago. I was like, get away from my bike. I decide when I'm done. All right, this is my game. I decide when I'm in. I decide when I'm out.
And besides, he's got a pad one if he needs it.
I don't get the whole box burnout. Like, can't they just have a fucking board
They
sitting
can,
there?
but you'll burn through it pretty quick.
Yeah, that's
So that's why you do it, because you can't just do it in the mud and the grass. We can do it on concrete for like a week and a half, but there wasn't any concrete around.
No, but I'm saying like they could just bring a slab or something, because
You
like
could bring
that box is weird. It causes people to hump over things.
It's not normal.
Yeah.
It's not the best solution.
No.
But
When I
anyway,
went and did it, the box, I stepped on a freaking little tiny piece of rebar that was supposed to be holding the box.
Holding
the
the
box
box.
moved.
Right.
And it was sticking out of the ground. I stepped on it with my flip-flop because I had my proper attire on.
Right, you were dressed for burnout.
I'm like, hey. And I was like,
DOT rated flip-flop.
I'm like, that's the last thing you need is a couple 4-inch punches.
The whole thing is a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I had to hold this fucking Stella, which meant like I'm
just
front row
mounted to
center
a
for Pete's
4x8
dick.
sheet of plywood. You know,
Oh, yeah. That's historically speaking, we would just grab we used to use we used to do this thing called put them on the glass. So we'd hold a piece of plexiglass up, like two dudes would hold a piece of plexiglass, and the girls would rub their boobs. You have soapy water because it has to be sterile. And so we'd get soapy water and we'd put soapy water on the glass, keep it clean.
As you do.
And then the girls would rub their boobs all over it and people would go bananas. Right. And so I've got guys who put their junk on it or whatever. It's all fun and games. Right. And then at some point, the guys called the Gobshites had brought a piece of Gorilla Glass out because it's Gorilla Glass. And they put a nice border on it and everything else. And it was like kind of an OSHA rated thing. And everybody did put them on the glass for like 9 hours. But then after that, we took it out and we did flaming burnouts on it. And so that was, I didn't know you could do non-flaming burnouts. So the way I had been raised was that burnouts are always flaming.
Yeah.
Because if you have a non-flaming burnout, somebody failed to bring gasoline.
Right.
Like that was usually the last flaming burnout of the night was when we're like, we're out of gas. Okay, you know, do a non-flaming burnout? If I have to. But otherwise, it's just stupid. So like, I never had done a non-flaming burnout until that event. And then you saw how we fixed that by having a flaming burnout.
Right.
We did that, and Andrew, my captain, Andrew's like, what's with you guys and fire? Because he's like, last year, Moto Guzzi on fire, and this year, what the fuck do you have going on? We're like, it's going to be great.
Yep.
And a lot of people that were in close proximity didn't think it was so great. I had to hold the motherfucking thing, though, and the headlights shine in my face. And then every time I look up from the headlight, I just see dick.
My favorite part, though, was that somebody brought him a beer and he decided to chug it.
Right.
And it's in the video.
Oh, yeah.
And then he leans his head back
all the way
to
back.
chug the beer.
Yeah.
And the dude behind him is just getting pie holes full of fucking fireworks.
Mouthfuls of fireworks. Oh, such a bad thing. Yeah. So the world went crazy. And yeah, you'll hear Liza talk about how certain high-powered members of the American Motorcyclists Association were within, I don't know, dick range of this entire thing, hands-on range
of
this entire thing.
Today I got the email from the AMA saying how exciting and wonderful the entire event was, and that they intend to hold and uphold the freedom of the event for years to come.
That's what mine said.
Yep.
And I wrote a big, long letter back saying, in my most corporate way possible, don't change a thing.
Not a thing.
Yeah. If you like this and you like happy people spending a lot of money, don't fuck it up. Because we have been to the ones in the past where they were like, we can never have enough security.
Right.
And we play cat and mouse with security the entire fucking weekend. That has its own kind of romance.
Well, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
You can set up a race anywhere you want to, right?
If
you go to barber and you're walking in the wrong area, you will get scolded.
Well, I got yelled at. I got yelled at in barber because I literally bent down to tie my shoe.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And I bent down to tie my shoe, and the guy was like, whoa, 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 if you're going to do that, step off the path.
Also, this grass is only for
artisanal grass.
Concourse vehicles only. You can't walk on this area.
Yeah, it's a different vibe.
Mid-Ohio is like...
By about 1 million.
You see that grass?
Right.
I remember
you want a barrel race?
Kill it. Kill that grass. There can't be any grass left.
Like whenever there was a little bit more security, you used to get the bikes, so it wasn't just a continuous burnout over in this corner. But then what would happen is
we did 10-foot drags everywhere.
Well, and then all throughout the campground, so it would be like somebody, whoa, and then shut it down.
Right.
Spread them out.
And then the security would go that way. Then, so they play a game of just everybody firing.
That was Suzuki. We were cutting calls. I mean, that's the way it would be. Exactly. We would have that situation be like, oh man, I hear they're in trouble over there. You see security and be like, okay, great, light up some fireworks over there. Yeah. And we did the cigarette fuse. We did cigarette fuse on packs and packs of fireworks. And we'd do a cigarette fuse. And then we'd intentionally go find security. And just so security knew we were the good guys.
Yeah.
And so
who was doing that?
We'd pull up and we'd be like, man, it's so good to see you guys. Thanks for being out there and doing your job. That's fucking kick-ass. What the fuck? Man, the people like that are fucking ruining it. I know it's those motherfucking Canadians. I know it.
Go get them.
Son of bitches. They come over here and they think, just because we sell fireworks in Ohio, it's legal to shove them up your ass. Go take care of that shit right quick. And they'd fuck. And then we'd be like, game on. Because they're going to get over there and they can't find them.
The other tradition that we did uphold a little bit was just going around and bombing. I used to do that with some of the guys.
Yeah.
So we went around and we were the brown liquor fairies.
Well, hold on. I have an official podcast Call of Duty here. We have to talk about something.
Duty.
John will lead this. So we always talk about, if you want to be cool with us, bring us brown liquor.
True that.
But go ahead, John.
Yeah, I don't actually like brown liquor.
Not anymore after 20 bottles.
No. But you know what? Brown liquor can include rum. It can include rum.
Okay, so rum. I really do like rum. So brown.
Yeah, right. Here you go.
A nice dark rum.
Hey, look over your shoulder, Sleepy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's just and poor Swiggy's trying to put the bike in gear because honestly, Pete needs none of that at this point. Oh, bike's in gear.
There you go.
Yeah, that's basically and bike stalled out and nobody cares. And there you go.
Yep. There's Dan and I'm right there. And
Dan's not saluting. Andrew's not saluting. Andrew's protecting his fucking eye holes. Yeah, that's what's going on right there. That is a lot of Mid-Ohio. But you were saying though, bourbon.
Yeah.
Bourbon. We know bourbon has certain effects on John.
There's, and I just, yes, it can be fun at some point.
Well, me and you had a fucking good time. Who was with us? There was somebody else with us. I don't remember who was with us.
Hard to tell.
When you were doing
hard to tell.
Well, we were walking around and John said, let's be the bourbon fairies.
Yeah,
and we walked around.
Let's lean into that.
We went about 1 a.m. We just walked around and just hit up campsites.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Hey,
Find somebody with a campfire. Who's hanging out? What's going on?
At one point, I thought I was going to have to fight.
Uh-oh.
Because when we rolled up, everybody was like, hey, what's going on? Yeah. They're like, wait, you're John, the Honda Whisperer. I was like, yeah. Oh. And then it seemed like they were coming at him. It seemed like they were trying to stump John with questions.
I just thought they needed help with their bikes.
Well, I was in a different mindset. Yeah. So I was like, these dudes are fucking with my buddy. So I was sitting back and I was waiting. But then after about 5 minutes, I realized
they thought they were playing Stump the Chump.
Yeah.
I get you.
But actually, they were actually asking a question, and then you answered their question, and they were like, "Yes, we will have all the bourbon that you've brought." And so then you were just pouring bourbon everywhere, and it was fucking great.
Yeah.
But it was great because we stopped about 6-7 places?
Yeah, just blast in on people. Hey, what's going on? You having a good time? Want some brown liquor? I mean, that's a good opening.
It was good, man. And we
got to meet some people. Where are you guys from?
Who was that last group? The guy that was asking a question. They were from Kentucky or something? Or
yeah, they knew all about the podcast too. Those guys knew it.
No, they were super cool, and they were like.
They stopped over later on. Then they came over to visit us.
Yeah, totally cool guys, man.
It's all about the visitants.
Yeah, it was, and we shared the love, and it was great. I
was trying to get the old locomotion going too, Me and the one lady, and I really don't remember their names. It was a husband and wife, and I gave her a bottle of vodka.
Tony and can't remember her name, but yeah.
Biddles? Okay, the Biddles.
The Biddles.
Yeah, well, she and I were riding around trying to get the locomotion going, get a little parade going, like, come on, everybody, let's go, follow me. And nobody followed. Yeah. But we tried, and,
Yeah, somebody told me we were trying to start like a conga line.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. We used to, always do that. Like you get, I should have just gotten our people together first.
Yeah.
And then just do like a little slow ride and bleep your horn and everything. We'd have had enough group just to start something. But
no,
whatever.
But that cruising around was that because I was like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this. And you're like, come on. And then after 2 minutes, I was like, well, this is fun. Like, and that was really a lot of fun. Like, we walked around and had a great fucking time. And that was
go out there and see what.
Although, you know what's crazy? At night, two aisles away from your own campsite seems like you're in fucking a different country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we couldn't even see our campsite anymore. I was like, I don't know where the fuck we are now, man.
The smoke of the burnouts and all that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is.
Pass that along.
Okay.
Anybody else want to test ride one of those?
Sure. Oh, wow, that's a cube.
That's
right
very
there,
clear liquor.
No, but you know what? You know what's funny?
That is smooth.
I hope these people are podcast listeners, but who brought the entire fucking garage with them? Do you remember when we turned the one corner and there was like a dude working on a Chevy pickup truck with a full fucking garage set up? Like it was like they had a fucking lift and people in there.
Everything.
I believe it.
It was nuts.
And when I passed him on Friday, he's setting everything up and you're like, holy shit, what the fuck is all this? And he's by himself.
Yeah.
And then next time I pass him, there's like 8 people and people are just walking up and they're talking to him and then they're starting to crawl under it. I'm like, what the fuck is going on over here?
It was like a legitimate 2-car garage. It
Yes.
was like a tent that was like a 2-car garage, white tent.
Oscar, did you want to try one of these?
Sure.
And there was probably 25 people in that fucking thing, just like wrenching away.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I'm bringing my hot ride and we're all going to continue to build it at Mid-Ohio. Like it was fucking great.
And that was the interesting thing because it wasn't just 2 wheels everywhere.
No.
Right?
No.
I mean, it was anything that was...
quads.
There's been a little bit of pressure on like the side-by-sides and big quads.
Yeah.
People have been, bouncing a little bit. But this year, I don't think it was as bad as like the previous year.
I think
the one year, especially when it was muddy, like the side-by-sides were just blasting up and down through the
But you know what?
campgrounds.
I think they got to keep the side-by-sides and 4-wheelers out of the swap shop.
Yeah,
That's the one thing, like, because like I had an argument with the guy. He goes, well, you were riding through it the whole time. I'm like, I was going 1 mile an hour, and like I actually if you get the right older dude that's looking for a part, his walking pattern is a fucking zigzag and doesn't pay attention to anything, right?
Oh, no, thank you.
When you're on a bike, you can't do that. You're kind of going slow and whatever. But the side-by-sides would take the whole fucking place up, cause traffic jams. It was just fucking terrible. Oh, wow. What do we got going on
Well,
here?
this is Uncle Nearest.
So
Dan would approve of this.
All right.
So, anyway.
But I like the square. Where do we get the square
ice.
cubes?
So, yeah, and you're supposed to give it a few seconds. It'll stop being so cloudy. It'll get all nice and clear for you.
Well, one
And
finger.
it won't
right there.
shatter when the beverage hits it.
Are you
So
serious?
if you leave it for a second.
I thought you were going to break out like some good rum or something.
Well, I have that too, but this is kind of,
Well, John is
she
just
goes.
saying how much.
Yeah.
I don't really like brown liquor.
No, I know
Have
you
some,
don't.
please.
I don't like it. It's terrible. I only like
No,
the
we
smell.
like it.
Right.
But we had how many? 25 bottles of it or something at the end of
Yeah.
the.
Oh, yeah. I get it. So if you'll lift up the bag there.
It does smell good.
So we have. I didn't say lift up the things under the bag. I just said lift up the bag.
Well, no, but they're all coming out. Okay.
Okay, they weren't in the bag. All right. So this is called Ice Made Clear. So it's icemadeclear.com, and one of our beloved Jedi Knights, one of our, Amy Ricketts. So Amy Ricketts has been a friend of ours forever, and she married this guy named Joe Myers, who is apparently an inventor. And he has invented a method by which your ice can be fucking clear. Like,
Yeah, look
it's
at
crazy how clear it is. It is scientifically odd. And I've heard all the tricks about boil the water and then make ice out of the boiled water and stuff like that.
Well,
I've done that.
there's a company that sells 8 cubes or something a month for $1,000.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's fucking
So,
crazy.
With this thing, now this thing isn't cheap, but I do have to give the shout
Usually,
out.
to make clear ice, you keep it moving. It keeps
Yes.
the air bubbles out.
Exactly. And so what this is a 2-part system. So it's a cooler that goes in your freezer, and the cooler gets filled up with water. And then the silicone ice tray. Now it'll make these big fucking bombers like this, these 2-inch by 2-inch cubes. I call class 3. These class 3 cubes, and it'll also make the class 1 cubes. So this will make six class 3 cubes at a time, but it'll also make, I think, a dozen class 1 cubes.
Well done.
And it's really kick-ass. And if you are if you're a bourbon snob and you like, look at that, like look at how different it is. And again, they call it, yeah, exactly. Your ice disappeared. Oscar's ice has gone away. It's not in his glass anymore, but it's still doing its magic. But it's still there. I know it's silly and I know it's a parlor trick and I don't care because, as they say, jumbo cubes mold. These are what they call the enormous cubes mold. The enormous is 6 2-inch cubes. Now, here's the cool thing that I like is this system that he sells is $89. So yeah, it's expensive. So, but it's $89 and you'll have pretty ice for the rest of your fucking life. And if you have a little bit of room in your freezer, you can have pretty ice whenever you want. You can look down in your coffee mug, in my case, and you can go, damn, that's some pretty fucking ice.
You know, I could see my daughter carving these into some like little miniature ice sculpture.
I just hit it with a hammer back there because I had one that wouldn't fit in the mouth. I bought these cool little cups that we could have for bourbon, but they're not right. And I do need to get some proper rocks glasses that are indestructible. But anyway, so this, I mean, I'm so fucking impressed that Joe Myers, Amy's husband, where she keeps her penis, is legitimately making this really, really cool product. And it's fucking great. And I like it because it's very clever. So it's a clever thing. So anytime science wins, I'm always a big fan of it.
All right. So Mid-Ohio, who bought what? Phil.
I don't think, did I buy anything?
No, I'm asking you.
I didn't buy shit.
You didn't buy shit.
No, I did sell a bunch of stuff, much to the entertainment of everybody who was there. In case you were wondering, the $50 running Chinese bike is a trap. Okay, it's a trap. It's there for our entertainment.
Oh, that was so good too,
wasn't it though? I did work hard to make sure that we had running $50 Chinese bikes. And why? Because we knew motherfuckers would negotiate. We knew that people would just be like...
But I like that the listener said, you know what? Fuck this fucking guy, and I'm fucking this guy up.
He did fuck him up.
Oh, it was so good.
Because he came back.
Well, yeah, the dude, I mean, Liza tells the story pretty good, but... yeah, I'd put that bike out as bait right in front of our campsite and said $50, it runs. Mm-hmm. And anybody who knows me knows if I say $50, it runs... It fucking runs. And I do not fucking overpromise ever. I underpromise the shit out of everything. But I did make the move because I was like, we didn't have a battery in it because batteries are expensive and that would blow the budget out. But the motherfucker started easy. Like it was an easy starting bike, but the exhaust studs were busted. But it's still a GY6 motor that you can put into any wheezy little fucking, Grom or Ruckus clone or whatever the fuck you got, little fuckus thing running around. You could put 150 cc's in it by just having this motor. Mm-hmm. And you're going to make your own exhaust anyway, so who cares? And so we had that thing sitting there, and the dude was just straight at the guy was like, well, I want to hear it run.
$50.
Will you buy it if I make it run? Well, yeah, I'll buy it if I make it run. Okay. So I go get the fucking battery, and we make it run. Boom. Blah, 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 and it's loud. It's very... Chinese impersonation of a odd deuce. It was angry, but it ran, and it ran no problem. It even fucking idled. And I told the guy, I was like, son of a bitch, it idles. Nothing at Mid-Ohio idles. You have to buy it on principle. Nothing at Mid-Ohio idles. Well, I got to go think about it. I was like, you're fucking kidding me. Like, you just said if it ran, you'd buy it. And he's like, well, you're going to throw in the battery? I'm not going to throw in a $60 fucking Yuasa battery on this $50. No. Again.
And that's when
go fuck your head.
Our listener buddy stepped in.
And so this guy fucked off, and he did straight up fuck off. And that was when Little came over and he's like, really $50? And I was like, yeah, really $50. And he was like, take my money. But then I realized he's a fucking Patreon.
And he was like, the only reason I did that was to fuck that guy.
To fuck that guy more.
That's what makes this dude a legend.
Yeah, and not only that, but I was like, dude, he's a Patreon member, so he gets 20% off.
Yeah.
So he got it for $40, which is what the other guy was trying to buy it for.
Yeah.
But he's not a Patreon member. So then Little got it and like straight up owned it. And then that dude apparently came back, 4 hours later. And he came back and he's like, okay, yeah, I want that bike now. I went to Walmart and I got a battery and some other shit for it. What? Yeah, I got a battery for it and everything else. I'm good to go. Let me have it.
Sold, bitch.
And I was like, dude, that motherfucker was sold a long time ago. That sold like 9 seconds after you made an ass of yourself.
And then the best part of this, did you know about the best part?
I did. So yeah. Go
ahead.
Yeah. So apparently, Grumpy Pants over there that didn't get to buy the bike saw it at our buddy Tony's spot, not fucking 60 feet away or 100 feet away. And saw the bike sitting there and was like, I want that bike, dude. You bought that bike. I know what you paid for it. I'll give you $100 for it. And our dude was like, Nah. Fuck you. I love it. He kept it out of spite. Like that's the ClevelandMoto way right there.
He's the fucking man. I love that.
That guy was a hardcore motherfucker. I was like, you win so hard right now.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. That's the same guy on Sunday who came around and he had another bike for $50 or whatever.
So I had the other guy that came around on Sunday when we were enjoying our delicious painkillers, courtesy of our romantic Hispanic. And now Jedi Knight. But we were sitting there like laying in with some fucking painkillers like we didn't have to leave. Like we didn't know it was, the ship was sinking and the rats were all unfucking the AO. And so we were just kind of hanging out in a long hang. And dude came up and he's like, so who owns that Gymkhana over there? I was like, I do, it's mine. He's like, what's the best you can do? Okay, that's why we put $50 on it. We put $50 on it for these life lessons that we're about to dole out. Oh, if I must. Sir, it's $50. It's $50. It's got a title. It doesn't run. You probably have to put a new piston in it or the valves are stuck. Whatever. But in any case, it's $50. And it doesn't run, but it has a title. The tires work, the brakes work, the suspension works, the steering works. It has 3,000 miles on it. And it's not a fling poo. It is a fucking Gymkhana. It will live forever once you unfuck whatever's fucked with it. Hell, buy a $90 cylinder kit and make it faster than it was before. But that guy was in it to win it on negotiations. Like he was in it to win it. So I was just like, all right. We've just wasted more than $10 of time talking about it. So the deal was $40, but now I'm charging you $10 back for the time we wasted talking about it. So the price went back up to $50. We played so many games with this thing, but he was hanging in there. So he was hanging in there, and so eventually it turned into...
Well, I just like to give him... He played the sympathy.
He did?
I just pick him up to give to my dad. He needs something to play with.
Oh, that guy.
He needs to work on
That's the same guy that bought my bike.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
You know what's crazy?
Rap, dude.
You know what the crazy part is? Yeah. Is that my bike, me and John worked on it, then I took it home and worked on it, I did all this shit, and the motherfucker wouldn't start forever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, okay, whatever. And the dude kicks it, and the fucking bike started and ran for fucking 2 minutes, and he bought it, and I was like, yes.
Perfect timing.
Thank you for working.
The guy comes back, and the guy's like, hey, man, I was like, you guys been hanging around for a while. You want a beer? And the guy's like, yeah, I'll take a beer. I was like, yeah, $5 a piece. I was like, dude, the saw cuts both ways. Yeah. You want to be tight on this end? We can be tight on this end.
I gave him a beer, and then he's like, this is really good. Can I get a couple more of those?
Yeah.
I'm like, $5 a piece.
$5 a piece, motherfucker.
I gave him.
We gave it to him just out of good spirit.
You did find the cheap fucking score though. What was that beer? The
Narragansett.
Yeah, Narragansett.
It was good.
Hi, neighbor.
Hi, neighbor. Yeah, exactly. You know what? When you can't get Natty Bo.
Yeah. Well, did you guys see that the place is killing like 12 fucking beers? Like, so Steel Reserve is going away. All these fucking cheap beers, they're killing them. Really? They're all done. So if you're a Steel Reserve fan, Coors Light, all this shit is going away, man.
Do you know why?
Coors Light's not going away.
Not Coors Light. Well, you know, all the fucking shitty beers.
Do you know why?
Why?
Oscar and I found out this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah. Ska Brewing Company, one of the greatest breweries in America. Ska Brewing Company. They make all kinds of really fucking good beer. They make tons...
Look at their fucking can,
two-tone
dude.
shit, dude.
What's up with this?
If you didn't even know what ska was, it'd still be good
like
beer, but now
children.
it's better.
Exactly.
Okay, so anyway.
Pick it up.
Yeah.
But here we are at a scooter rally that's sponsored by Ska Beering, where they like straight up gave us, 10 half barrels of beer,
Fucking
right?
greatest company in the world.
Maybe not 10, maybe six kegs of beer. And then like an infinite number of cans of beer. Okay, like kill 2 refrigerators, cans of beer. And they did that. And everywhere we went, people that I know, people whose names I may mention later, kept saying, hey,
oh my God.
Hey, you got any seltzer? So as you know from watching this podcast, I do like a drink and I love a beverage. Mm-hmm. And to me, that anything less than 3 ingredients is considered to be an emergency. If you tell me, Phil, on your way in, would you stop and get some seltzer?
Yeah, you're getting.
I assure you, I will come back with seltzer because I know what seltzer is.
Right.
I know what aisle in the grocery store has it.
Bubbly water.
I know how to buy seltzer. Tonic, sure. Don't ever confuse tonic and seltzer. There's rules. That's like baking powder and baking soda.
What about club soda? How's that different?
Again, the same thing as long as, it depends on the ingredients. But again, quinine's a long way to a good start. But hold on. Seltzer. When a American male, between the ages of 14 and 51, tells you to procure seltzer, what they want you to come back with is White Claw.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yes, exactly.
The Virginia Slim of malt beverages. As my good friend Jason...
No laws with White Claws.
As my good friend James likes to say, White Flaw. It is Zima while looking at a picture of a strawberry.
It tastes like chalk put into seltzer water.
It's just garbage.
It's just terrible, man.
And as a person who understands the way alcohol products are made... Yeah. That's the lips and assholes of the... that is the hot dogs. That is the cheap hot dogs of the alcohol world. Because all
they use powdered alcohol.
Everything that went into that bottle, there were byproducts. Those byproducts made White Claw. Right? It ain't for drinking, folks. All right? I'm just going to let you know. It's a cleaning solvent that they watered down enough to the point where they could sell it as a malt beverage.
But it's seltzer, though.
Yeah, it's seltzer.
It's
not even low-cal, dude.
It is not in the shadow of
we used
seltzer.
to make Windex in college. It was the raspberry fruit syrup with grain alcohol and like ice and fruit in a big
Windex, baby.
Garbage can.
Yeah, and that we used to
Windex.
Right.
Tasted yummy.
We used to take the blue Kool-Aid powder and put it in with grain. So you take the blue Kool-Aid powder and put it in with grain, mix it up, and it looked like windshield washer fluid. You put it in a windshield washer jug and sneak it into the concerts. Nobody'd ever look twice. But the Claw, or seltzer, every time we would show up in a fucking event, we'd show up at the event, there'd be an armada of little aluminum soldiers of delicious beer all waiting to be drunk. And people go like,
you got some of that seltzer, man?
Yeah. They'd be like, oh yeah, you can leave the beer in the van.
Wait, these are scooter people?
But we're going to make a run to get seltzer.
Did they get exiled from the club for fucking...
Yeah. Apparently they've been in Denver way too long.
Dude.
So
that sounds like a reason for expulsion.
Again, I would like to say that I checked myself with Oscar. I was like, did I miss 10 years? Because the last time somebody had a Zima in their hand and told me to go get one for them, I straight up punched them. Right. I was like, you're not allowed to drink that in my presence.
Well, there's a great meme.
Yeah.
You know, like the Fred and Daphne and Scooby-Doo meme. It's like, if it wasn't for you kids, right?
Oh, they take the mask off.
Yeah, they take the mask. Yeah, exactly. White Claw is just Zima.
There's all kinds of stories about like how White Claw is the devil because like you can't sell, if you make seltzer, if you make White Claw and you put it into a traditional beer can, that same height, width, girth of all that stuff, you will not sell one can of it.
Nope.
It has to be in a Virginia Slims can.
Right.
Otherwise, nobody will touch it, which has fucked the whole bottling industry up, the canning industry up, because now they need molds super fast to make these Virginia Slims cans. Because
I think Red Bull can help out.
Well, again, they've got their own size and shape that's proprietary. But isn't it hilarious that in today's world of marketing and white, what do you call that, white appropriation, that seltzer is in a tall, thin, white can.
Right.
You're like, dude, what the fuck? Like, seriously, this is telling you that you're a stupid idiot for buying it. It's water that's waved in front of a blueberry and just a little spit of malt liquor trailings put in it.
They just put the shit that people were overdosing on, the powdered alcohol into the shit.
More to make a bottle of Aquafina water than it costs to make fucking White Claw. The profit margin is higher on a bottle of fucking water than it is on White Claw. And if you're still drinking it after I've said that, you're bad at marketing and good at being a victim. If you want to know what White Claw is, just bring me a cup of tap water. I will put literally a splash of that, like drips of that into it, and you have just achieved the same level of stupid.
And you get no taste, no flavor, no fun.
It's vodka that they're putting in them. I mean, what is the alcohol that they're even using?
This gets into a long battle. What is the alcohol they're using? The good news is they don't have to say.
Yeah.
Right.
It's powdered.
Well,
do you remember when they were selling powdered alcohol and all the kids were buying a pound of powdered alcohol?
I don't remember.
It is the lips and assholes.
They were putting it so you could buy powdered alcohol, right? And you could throw it into a fucking juice container, and all of a sudden your fucking juice is alcohol.
And there's the term. I mean, this whole idea.
But it tastes the same as White Claw. It's shitty and gross and fucking
distilled grain spirits.
Was today years old whenever I discovered that.
Yeah, it's distilled grain spirits. The whole idea of it is
I didn't know you can make powdered alcohol.
It can be. I'm not aware of the powdered angle, but I am definitely aware of the whole.
Kids were dying from snorting it. People were dying from snorting it.
It got bad. It really got bad in the. Again, schools is what I do, right? And so alcoholism was through the roof because, again, it was a powder. You couldn't smell it. It was hard to find. They would bring it in with them in tiny packages and then add it to whatever they were doing in school.
Yeah. So they were like, okay.
Water, bottles, you name it.
I've got
pizza. You could have alcohol pizza.
I got a juice box. And meanwhile, John's thinking, that's not the worst idea.
There's pizza right over there.
If I could skip a step, that sounds good. But that, it
looks like cocaine.
Yeah.
Kids died snorting it because it was it's super potent.
Johnny, you're going down for blow. Well, it's not blow. It's just alcohol.
And that was everyone's big thing, right? This isn't fucking me up. I'm not doing anything. And next thing
it's made using micro encapsulation.
Yeah.
When recon,
Coke's inside. Are there alcohols inside?
Yeah, so it must be tiny little bubbles of alcohol, and when you add it to a liquid, the little encapsulating polymer melts off.
Yay!
And now it adds alcohol.
Yeah. Huh. Now these kids need to learn how to keister a beer, because if these kids knew how to keister a beer, they would never fuck with that shit ever again. Yeah. There's only one place alcohol is allowed to go. It's in your mouth hole. If it goes into any other hole in your body, it's going to hit you way too hard, way too fast.
Yeah. I've heard about. I've heard about somebody using a tampon in their butt with fucking vodka on it. I just heard about
chugging?
This. Oh yeah.
Well, and DI and some other shit that we're talking about.
Just get your beer bong out and blast down a couple beer bongs.
Just have a fucking beer, man. Just
be a man and do a sheet of acid. Fuck off.
If you want to really get weird,
come on.
What happened to just carving a hole in a can and doing a shotgun?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, right.
So, motorcycle podcast. I bought a motorcycle last night.
Last night?
After I left work.
What?
I did on my way home from work.
Well, I was going to try to get special recognition for really trying to sell bikes at Mid-Ohio this year. I actually did get off my ass.
Yeah, you did.
I tried to be a little bit more motivated. I rode one around. That was always been my trick. Take a bike, ride around. Hey, you want this little $300, this $500 Vespa? Right. Ended up selling for $300, but whatever.
Hey, dude, we made an XS 1100 run that we can verify hasn't run in at least 15, 20 years.
Dude, the bike I bought that Oscar ended up riding. It wasn't running when I saw it.
Yeah.
And I gave him half of what he was asking for it. And then I brought a spark plug and gave it to the guy, and he kicked it the first kick. The fucker started, and Oscar rode
You told me you gave him like $5.
What?
To the guy for holding the bike for you.
No, I gave him.
You gave him a deposit?
Yeah, I gave him $5 to hold the bike. But I gave him half of what he was.
Spender.
I gave him half of what he was at. He asked me $1,200. I gave him $600.
Right. You just bought a $5 option.
Right.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You know what's funny? Is I gave him $600, and the fucking guy went and got me my $5 back. He brought me $5.
He owed you because you overpaid.
Wow.
You get your deposit back.
Yeah. Props to him. He was cool. But the thing was, it wasn't running. And then the $3 spark plug.
Yeah.
put it in and kicked it, and then I was going to ride it. Oscar's like, fuck you, and he took off on my new bike.
That's a friend.
Yeah, because I couldn't kick over the your
the
other
250,
bike.
yeah, right.
250. I'm
Yeah,
like,
Oscar's like, I know what side my bread's buttered on.
Yeah,
this
fuck
one's
that shit.
running.
He's like, this one's running.
Yeah.
I can keep it running. Yeah, I'm good at old shitty
it was a
bikes.
nice ride. I like it.
It was a good. I
like it.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Then the guy put $100 deposit on that Kimco.
Yeah.
Then wanted to take it for a test ride the next day. I'm like,
Yeah, it was great. This dude comes in, he
But
wakes
he was
me
like,
up.
but he wanted me to take the sign off of it.
Right.
I'm like, I can't take the sign off of it if you don't give me money.
Exactly.
Oh,
Phil would
Right.
be upset if I tried to do that.
Yeah, blame
I've
Phil.
seen what happens in the shop if you don't get a down payment.
If you don't get a down payment, then you didn't. Why'd you waste your time?
Yeah.
Right.
It's for sale until I get money.
Yes,
So he gave me $100
exactly it,
and
right.
said he'll pick it up in the morning. I'm
Right.
like, okay, that works for
He
me.
did. He hung around for a long time. I had just kind of woken up, and I heard him. I heard him around kicking rocks, like he's trying to like be invisible, but making noise at the same time.
So what did you think? So the Japanese guys that have the truckload were not there.
Lucky
this year.
son. Well, so the people that bring in oh my God, it's like All Cherry or something. It's the group that brings in the JDMs because nobody can fly into America right now.
Right.
So they weren't there because they couldn't come into America.
So what do you think was the best? What do you think was the most rare, exciting bike that you saw at Mid-Ohio?
I'm going to say the same thing I said in our podcast where I said the Lilac because that Lilac was that beautiful V-twin.
But that was like part of the show. I'm saying in the swap shop.
the swap meet,
like
yeah.
walking
Random
around.
swap
You
meet
guys
shit.
were riding around on the Gyro X's. Those were cool.
Those Gyro X's were pretty cool. Yeah, that
I
was.
don't know what I'd
yeah.
want to own one.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's John Coe. So that's John Coe. He brought those out from Seattle. And I don't know, like stuff that was in the swap meet. I didn't see anything this year in the swap meet where I was like, oh fuck, now I got to buy a bike. Like I managed to be fairly fucking insulated from that this year. And it's not because there weren't some cool things there. It's mostly because my defenses are pretty strong. And I was like, I need to offload things, which I did pretty happily. And I didn't bring them back. Things that happened, the resurrection of the XS 1100, it was literally, I'm going to have another cigarette, but I'd also like to make that bike run. And John was like, well, kind of let's get this rig rolling, man. And so we went and we got the battery and we did everything we've been talking about for 11 years for the first time in our history. For the first time in our history, we should have recorded something video because we would have had a 12-minute video proving if you use those steps in that order, you'll have a running bike that hasn't run in 15 or 20 years. Because the son of a bitch did reward us with, like all those people around the campsite that were watching this whole thing, they went from literally, I've just got a cup of coffee. All right, what are these assholes doing? To 6 minutes later, blah, 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 to 9 minutes later, rah, 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 and we were stroking it, and it was just giving it to us. And that bike was very happy to be alive. Mm-hmm. Like it was straight up, it was super. Taking the weird seat luggage rack thing off of it took longer than making it run.
And running on all cylinders.
Running on all four, yeah.
And this was a bike that, for all intents and purposes, was supposedly put away. It had been mothballed. There were plugs up the exhaust, and it was sitting there with no gas in it.
All the evidence was that it had been laid up correctly.
So why wouldn't we put a battery and some gas and at least see what happens? Give it a shot.
And you know what? If you lay a bike up correctly, turns out 15 years later, the sumbitch might start.
So walking around and checking things out, a lot of guys brought their, barn find fucking CT70s and shit and tried to get $5,000 for them, whatever. But the diversity was not there. I got offered $3,800 for my SP250.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it was the only fucking SP in the whole fucking complex.
Gorilla
you
complex.
still have it?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I like that bike, man. Fuck
That's
that
the
guy.
difference between me and you.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
No, you guys say swap area, right? Like swap, but the whole place is like you can't describe that well enough. Is yes,
true.
There's a tented off area where they barricade off.
The majority of the bikes you sold were sold from our campsite.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, there's a very good argument for you will strike harder and faster in the campsite than you will in the swap meet. Because remember, in the swap meet, people are paying $150 for a booth to sell shit that doesn't run. Meanwhile, in the campsite, those are all alternatives to walking.
Right.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
Now, should we go deeper than this though and talk about what we learned this year about getting a racing pass to
Yeah.
thing. Should we
That's
talk
good.
about
No,
that?
by all
or-
means, yeah.
Okay.
Fire it up.
So we were talking about the fact that me and Phil snuck in on Wednesday. Not snuck in, but we did our thing, whatever.
Right.
Then I stayed and helped, whatever. But for the normal person, you can't get in until Friday, basically, or Thursday at 5 or 6 p.m. or whatever. But for $40, you can sign up to race the fucking hair scramble.
Hair scrambles. Yep.
And at that point, you can get in Wednesday night or Thursday morning to set up
to
and do what
practice.
you want because you're going to do your thing.
Right.
You're now a racer.
Now you're a racer.
Competitor.
Yeah.
So whether or not you actually show up to the starting line is
Right.
irrelevant. You are now in the complex with a wristband that says
Did
you are
you see
allowed
the
to be there.
dude that showed up to do the hair scramble on the Suzuki RV90?
I did not, but that's amazing.
That dude, he gets the brass balls award because he straight up, like, he made preparations.
Wow.
And nobody told him that each lap of the hair scramble is a straight up 19 minutes, 13 to 15 minutes, depending on how you rock and roll
Oh,
it.
we watched it. We got tired watching the guys.
Exactly.
We had to have 2 beers just to.
It's an hour
going.
and change.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The guy who sets the world record on it is doing it in an hour and 10 minutes or whatever.
Right.
And so this dude thought he was going to do it. He made not one complete lap. Because in RV90, as we said before, there are places those wheels can't go.
Well,
Yeah.
as we found out, because we were going to take the SSRs and do the lap of the thing.
Oh, yeah.
There are like root holes that are a foot deep.
Yes.
And there's like only 12 inches between the roots.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So there is no possible way you're doing it on a small
You need
bike.
big wheels.
Oh, yeah.
For
21-inch weight,
proper
right.
fucking around. You need.
Yet
big
there was a
front
guy
wheel.
with
Yeah.
jeans and a T-shirt
Yeah.
bombing around a 1960-something Triumph Bonneville.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In beautiful green livery.
Yeah.
Like, he just pulled in off the street and said, yeah, sure, I'll do
Hair
that."
scramble? I got a helmet. Sure, I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, what are the rules? You have to have a helmet, gloves, and like what?
No,
Pants?
helmet.
A helmet. No, I can tell you, based on what I saw.
A helmet.
helmet.
That was
Okay.
the one piece of safety equipment that I can say everybody had was a helmet.
yeah.
But everything else was optional.
Yeah.
I saw dudes in cutoff shorts, like BDU shorts, racing with boots on. I saw dudes with full on all the right gear in all the right places. And then I saw other guys smoking a cigarette and killing it. And like straight up killing it. Like railing down the straight, front wheel in the air, Marlboro hanging out of their
Oh, yeah.
mouth.
No,
Yeah.
there were some guys that were me and John size
Yeah.
plus in front of small guys.
Yes.
Like with
Yeah.
skill sets that
Yeah,
they
Oh,
were
it's
good.
very fucking cool. Super cool and very rowdy, and it goes places you shouldn't go. It was fucking badass. Yeah, God love Mid-Ohio. It's just fucking
Absolutely.
cool. So what did I buy last night?
What'd you buy?
Okay, well, I'm going to start the game by telling you what I paid. Let's get that fucking shit out of the way
Yeah,
right now.
that
Okay, $750 with the title.
what decade?
Ooh, 90s.
Buck a CC?
A little more than a buck a cc.
Okay.
Oh shit! So it's 600 something. 600.
650?
650, 600.
I'll give you 650.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll land on
650.
650.
650. That limits to certain bikes.
Yep.
Kawasaki's made a 650. Suzuki's did not.
In the form of a question.
One more question.
Was it a dual sport?
Yes.
Was it a DR650?
It is a DR650. John is really good at this game. It is a DR650. It's a beautiful DR650. It's got an Acerbis gas tank on it. It's got a see-through Acerbis gas tank.
I call that Acerbis.
Yep, Acerbis.
Service.
Acerbis John, yeah. It's got a...
It was never around to hear anybody pronounce things the right way.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
I've had to come up with my own pronunciation.
You have, and it's fine. There's no problem with
There's
that.
no issues.
It's got a super trap pipe on it.
Oh.
With nothing inside, so it is just louder than fucking
perfect.
hell.
It was a
Oh,
bike
it's
life
so angry.
bike.
Huh?
It was a bike life bike.
As a bike. No, this thing. So it has probably
title?
80-20. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Title's cromulent. So what it didn't have was most of a battery because it is bump start only. The front valve, the exhaust valve, takes a licking and keeps on ticking. So we're going to have to do a valve adjustment on it pretty desperately. It's got only 6,300 miles on it. And it pulls like the DR650 that we all know and love. Like, it is a proper fucking rocker. It's a good bike. But with that giant tank on it, and it's got some other little go fast E mods on it too. But yeah, $750 for a running DR650 with Ein title. Wow. Yeah.
What area?
Avon Lake. Not 3 minutes from my house.
Wow.
Yeah, not 3 minutes from my house.
So
Craigslist.
So that's like
Yeah.
$200 of your time.
Oh my God! What was hilarious was I went home. I got home driving one of the impossibly small Japanese cars, and I got home and my wife had already gone down to meditate. So there's rules in my house. When my wife goes to meditate, that's her time. You don't knock on the door. You're not knocking on the door to the basement and be like, "I need you to drive me 10 minutes away to buy a motorcycle I don't need." Nope, you don't do that. You don't interrupt an invitation for that. I would have to be at least a $4,000 bike. So I fucked off to the guy's place, and again, I had $750 in my pocket. And I go to the guy's place. I park the little impossibly small Japanese car. I get out of it. I walk over. I see the bike, and I'm like, I'm buying it. Like, it already is sold. Like, just based on it being there and present and not a scam. I was like, if the title matches the VIN, I'm already buying it. I don't even need to see it run. I know that if it's not running, I know that it's a DR650, and we can make it run. Even if it means buying another DR650 and moving the motor into this one, because that might be the best solution. But let alone I go over to it, and this is a more modern DR, doesn't have a Kickstarter at all. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, starts and runs, and I grabbed the header, and it was ice cold. She's like, yeah, just pump start it. Or you could put a fucking battery in it, pal. Like I understand that the situation you've done, though, is by having this motorcycle that purports to run but doesn't run, I'm going to look at it harder than I should right now, which I did. And so then, put the thing in second gear and made him push me because he's the one getting the money.
Right.
And so he pushed me and he gave me a shove, and like one super loud atomic bang to wake up the whole fucking neighborhood. And then blah, 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 blah. And it was just the angriest fucking bike in the world. So I rode it around his little development and rode around the development, got stink eye from everybody, people walking dogs, just dogs straight up in the fucking air. And it's just like everybody hated me on that bike. And I was like, yes. No license plate, no suggestion of a license plate. Like, I mean, I came there with nothing but $750. So the bike's running and I'm not going to let it shut off. So what am I doing? I'm keeping it alive. I'm keeping it alive. We're not going to bump it again. I know there's not a battery in here that's worth fucking starting it, no matter how much I ride it. So I'm like, here's $750. Bring me the title. And I'm like, okay, let her go. Oh, no, we don't let you do that. No, you're not allowed to do that around here. No, sir. We're going to keep it running. And now all the neighbors are out and looking around. And I'm like, okay, that's a title. That's great. That's cool. Do you have anything that says your name on it, like a driver's license or anything like that? And he goes, I'm like, okay, good. That's who you are, Sarah. Okay, great. Now take this and sign it where it says seller. And he fucks off and he sells, on the side of his, and again, perfect because he has a, not the Nissan Trash Finder, but he has the Toyota foreskin runner. So he's got the Toyota foreskin runner, and he's got one of those with a bike hauler on the back that John wouldn't use. It's like made of 2x4s. Really? It's a straight up 2x4 bike hauler on the back. Okay, no. Yeah, it looks like a hitch hauler, but it's not.
Was it painted silver?
It was painted silver to make it look like it was metal. But I looked closely. It's not. It's plywood. So I'm like, oh, this bike lived on the back of there a lot. Like, this is low budget adventure shit. Jeez. So I was like, okay, so he signed it and I'm reading it. I'm like, okay, good. That's great. I fold it up and I put it in my pocket as I'm not letting it die. And I'm like, okay, great. And I look around and I'm realizing that now all of them are out. And now this isn't 11 o'clock at night. This is like 7, right? Mm-hmm. But it's still, we want to eat our dinner and we can't because it does sound like a biplane is about to crash into our neighborhood. And I'm like, got it. So dude's like, great. And I'm like, great. And he's like, where's your car? I'm like, doesn't matter. And I just left. So I just left and I got to drive down Lake Road with no license plate on the back. But I have a freshly signed title in my pocket.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
It's not even notarized. What cop's going to fuck with that? Yeah. He's going to know what I'm doing, and he's going to realize that I'm a brave motherfucker, and that I'm only got like 6 miles to go. So I just ripped it down Lake Road. I got it up to like 85 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour. It was like perfect, hanging right in there. Pull into my house on my street. My wife is sitting on the little swing set thing we have in the front. We got this little glider, right? Sits, like a love seat, And my wife sits out there and eats her meals in the summertime. You know, squirrels come up and raccoons hug her legs and shit.
Oh, she's pissed now.
Oh, yeah. So I just destroyed her peace. Like every animal in the neighborhood just fucked off for Canada. You know, it's just assholes and elbows leaving my yard. And I pull up and I'm just, as soon as I slow down to make the turn for the street, what do I got to do? Can't let it stall ever again. And she looks up and she goes, "Is it a Harley?" And I got the joke. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm just going to let it stall and I'll just ghost ride it into the garage. You know, I do this thing where I was like, I got the remote control in my pocket and I'll just aim for the door, hit the button, and the garage door and me are in a race to see who gets hit. And as soon as I let off the throttle, though, that bitch was on a perfect idle. Like, that thing could have idled for 9 years. I'd never met a bike with such a stable idle. As fucked up as that exhaust valve is, like tang, 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 I got off the bike and it's just sitting there, like perfectly. I'm like, motherfucker, look at that thing go. It's just sitting there. So I was like, okay.
Blew it out.
I figured I blew it out, and I also figured I put enough electrons back in the battery that could support the coil a little bit. So once I shut it off, then I turned it back on real quick and hit the start button and realized that was a fantasy. That
Well, there's also the anti-stall too. So bikes have, like, you notice when a bike goes to stall, you'll hear the starter going.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's because it's an anti-stall. If a bike it's set up so
the
that
RPMs get slow enough, it acts like a decompression lever. And when the RPMs get slow enough, it throws the Bendix against the starter real quick, and it keeps it going. It gives it a little bump, gives it a little push.
So, to your point of coming home from Mid-Ohio and doing things, I learned the appropriate amount of motorcycles to make your wife or loved one or spouse or person you live with not realize that you have less or more bikes is 9.
Oh, 9, so they can't tell.
No.
They look out there and the number's a little overwhelming.
None.
And they go...
So my daughter names all the bikes that I have, right?
Oh,
and so she was naming the K, you know.
The K100.
And so she was bummed because they got rid of the yellow one and they brought this one home.
And that one's rusty now.
Yeah, right. And so this one, and my wife's like, "Oh, did something change?" I was like, "Nope, not at all." And I punched my daughter. I was like, I didn't punch her, but I slapped her, and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "If you want to have fun, don't talk to mom about
ever.
And so she gave me the thumbs up, and now we're cool. So like now,
never lie to your mom, but never give her the full truth.
Right. So 9 bikes in a garage, and nobody understands what's coming and going at all.
No, because you can't tell.
No,
my wife gave up years
Keep
ago.
the colors. Don't all have Keep the
Can't have
colors
them all
changing.
black bikes.
No,
like the one white bike disappeared.
Yeah, right. You got to keep them all like crazy and weird, and like
Yeah.
have a bunch of different Hondas and Kawasaki's
And move them around every once in a while.
that's
Just
a good idea.
it's like, oh shit, which one is it? I don't know.
Giant
man.
game of 3-card Monty.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, that's not a bad idea, but 9's the magic number.
Yeah,
right?
I told her I sold 2 to buy the 1, but I didn't.
No, you
I
didn't.
sold 1 turd and bought another turd.
Yeah, you did. you just did a little turd transference
I did,
there.
yeah,
That's all you
yeah.
did. I think that was a really good move though on your part. I gotta
I
say.
like this turd. It runs.
Yeah, it's a running turd. And a running turd isn't really a turd if it runs.
No,
because I don't think it is.
It's a diarrhea turd compared to the fucking.
right.
The other one was constipated.
Yeah.
didn't do much.
You know, if you can go out to your garage and throw your leg over a motorcycle and have it drive away, it's not a turd.
No.
It's just a shitty bike. And shitty bikes are okay. I get a lot of shitty bikes. Like, I'm cool with shitty bikes. There's nothing wrong with having a good shitty bike.
No, plus it's a good project. I'm enjoying this project. Although, I know 90% of the people I know in the world wouldn't understand this, but everybody at this table would.
Yeah.
47-year-old fork oil has its own unique scent.
I'm guessing never has been changed, right?
Oh, dude, yes. Well, it wasn't oil at that point. It was more of like
Mud?
a dinosaur sludge.
Yeah.
It was a casting.
Oh, yeah. And I think it smells exactly like what an exploded whale would smell like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because
we know.
All those lubricants were organic by nature. And so, if you've ever taken apart a vintage Volkswagen transmission or anything, it's all the same kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it all does, like...
And it hangs with you. You leave
you
and you
can't
take
wash
a
it off.
shower
No.
and you gargle and you brush your teeth and you scrub your eyeballs with the toothbrush.
It doesn't matter.
And it still smells like it the next day.
It's just
it's
garbage.
Terrible.
There's no getting away from that awfulness.
No.
Like, that's crap. Don't you see the Royal Enfield behind us? Take a look at that picture.
That's cool.
Oh,
That's
nice.
a pretty good picture, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's actually an XS650. I lied to you, but it was more fun to say it was a Royal Enfield. I figured if I said it was an Enfield, you'd see those push rod tubes and be like, yeah, it's totally an Enfield.
There was like a club of Royal Enfields. I saw like a pack of, I don't know, like 6 or 7 Royal
Yeah, it was
Enfields.
They sponsored it,
demo
right?
ride.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's the only time that many
only
Royal
time-
Enfields have ever been gathered in
Exactly.
one place outside of India.
Actually, I was surprised that at the AMA that they did rides for all kinds of bikes.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they did not like it when I asked them, can I take it past the gates?
Yeah.
Because I did. I'm like, I need to ride something. I'm like, I'm just going to give myself a break and ride around a little circle and whatnot. And I was like, can I leave the gates?
Right.
Like, get the fuck off the bike.
Get off the bike.
They didn't let me take it for a test ride. They're like, get the fuck off.
When we did it AMA Vintage Days with Zero, we had a ride that went not just outside of the gates, but like out into the hinterlands.
Oh.
And so each ride was about 40 minutes. Speaking of which, August 27th and August 8th, here in Cleveland, Ohio, good out, at our beloved Porco Lounge Antique Bar, we are going to be hosting the national tour of Zero electric motorcycles and their launch of their new FXE, as an Echo, motorcycle. And we're going to have something on the order of 30 of them at Porco.
Wow.
And we're going to be doing demo rides. You get to go to their website and sign up. Not Porco's website. Go to Zero's website. Porco will be like, no.
Are they going to check if you drink before you ride?
You're not. It's the honor system.
Oh, okay.
Get honor, stay honor. No, but I mean, Porco will have some non-alcoholic offerings and libations for you and some snacks as well. And we're going to invite everybody to come out. And there's a lot of shit going on. It's the same weekend as Mods versus Rockers in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's going to be a really good weekend to be in Cleveland.
Fun weekend.
And a lot of shit going on. So I'm a big, big fan of all that stuff. So yeah, if you get a chance and you're in that area and you want to ride a Zero bike, that's a great opportunity to do it. If you want to hang out at Porco, it's a great opportunity to do it. If you want to go to Mods versus Rockers, that's being hosted by Skidmark Garage, which is a beautiful thing. You should be there. I mean, just be there.
This is going to be too late because it's going to hit next week. But this weekend is also the Rockabilly Ruckus.
It's Rockabilly Ruckus. I was thinking about going. I was like, I could go. I could just take my old vintage ACMA Vespa because they have rules about you got to ride it through the gate.
Well,
like
Sunday, any motorcycles can come.
Sunday is the motorcycle show. Well, the show.
Yeah.
And they have many different awards and categories and stuff
But
like that.
you can go and park without getting on the grounds with your vehicle.
Oh, just go and have a good time. Listen to the music, see the shit, buy some stuff.
I'm definitely. I'm gonna head up there
Ruckus
this
is
weekend.
good times. Yeah. Sounds like a very good time.
But Mods vs. Rockers, we're doing that. I'm going to do that.
It's going to be a great weekend.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. So we got 2 weekends in a row. Got to wait for the end of August to do it, apparently. But yeah, we're going to have some shit going on.
Well, hopefully it happens before the Delta virus takes over.
We all been there. It's the Pavlo virus. So it's the Pavlo variant. We are all aware of the Pavlo variant. But we have those people that went to Denver. We have all been inoculated. Nobody wears a weasel squeezer quite like Pablo.
Oh no!
There's one in every group, a fully respectable adult male that gets shit done and is a captain of his industry and just takes care of business and needs to be constantly looked out for by his little sister. It's like if Ame didn't exist, I'm pretty sure Pablo would be dead by now. But Pablo is a human that is truly amazing. Like, he's one of those guys and you're like, this guy seems to have his shit together and he's way too pretty. Like, you get a guy and he's like, you get a guy like him, he should have a giant facial scar, Yeah. But no, he's intact. Like, all of his pieces are where they're supposed to be. And you're like, that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
Like, you should be all fucked up. Like, some of your teeth should be at home in a jar. And nope, that's fucking Pablo, man. Yeah, he's just unfuckwithable, I guess. That's pretty cool.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's it. Anybody got anything else? Yeah, fuck that, man.
What a great fucking week, though.
I know,
man.
I can't. So let me.
I never stopped being awesome for 2 whole weeks.
No, that's what I was gonna get to. Like seriously, like, I don't know. As much as I've probably liked to been with you guys, I don't know how you did it. Because when I got back on Monday, I was done. I'm like, I'm not drinking. I'm not doing shit for fucking like a month.
Yeah, we jumped in a car.
The answer is right there.
We jumped in a car. We drove
Right there.
17 fucking hours. Yeah. We drove 17 goddamn hours day one.
Right.
And then polished it up at like 7 hours day two.
So
yeah.
I was sleeping before I got here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still just
No, but so I enjoyed your guys' little travel vlogs that you were posting. So in all the middle states,
Yeah.
you can get like cheese fries and like AR-15 parts.
Oh yeah.
Not just parts. Like
The whole fucking thing.
We didn't go into a gas station for a long time that didn't have 5.56 and 7.62 and other and it was super crazy overpriced. Like it was fucking reloads for $70 a box. Wow. It was awful. Like they were taking advantage of people
Preying on
so
those
hard.
tourists.
Yeah, they were preying on the tourists. We went to the place that said we have implement parts for all brands and fresh ammo. Because the guy across the street has stale ammo?
Right.
And how would you fucking tell? But we did some stuff. We did some stuff in Ole's Big Game Tavern.
Oh yeah.
Is like a zoo that all got taxidermied, including the people that worked at the zoo.
Oh yeah.
Chris, do you shoot it all?
Yeah, used to.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, there you go.
No, anything they have.
There will be future shooting. Yeah.
Giraffes, elephants,
giraffes, elephants, polar
bears,
down
anything
to the
you can think of.
littlest fucking bullshit vole and stuff. They taxidermied every goddamn
Everything.
thing. But the one that fucks me up.
Seal. The fucking yeah.
Go ahead.
The girl?
I don't want to talk about it.
You're trying to go to the bathroom. You're innocent, just trying to go to the bathroom, just doing your thing, going to the bathroom. And what do they put in a place where you can't not make eye contact? A fucking baboon.
Just there, just
And it's not even like it's just a
from here
baboon.
up,
It's
no.
like a fucking howler monkey kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he's all wise and insightful, and yet he's stuck to a piece of wood.
from
And
the
he's-
chest up.
Right, from the chest up, and he's just he's kind of
Fucking
looking
looking
at you
at
like why?
Creepy as fuck.
They fucking captured his face mid shit. Like he was just there having a dump and somebody shot him and he was like, oh. And that's the face he has for the rest of time. Yeah. And then I guess they used to put him on the bar and dress him up.
There was a bartender was telling us they used to put him in the bar.
Now look, I get the idea behind trophy mounts. I totally do. Right? I get it. Right? Mm-hmm. But baboon, on the other hand, is just kind of like, oh man, that's way too close to some kids I knew in high school. They're just like one chromosome off, slightly off, and maybe 5 IQ points. And it could have been the kid with I just took a shit look on his face sitting on the cigarette machine instead of the baboon. Yeah, but
That
My
was
ass
crazy.
literally looked like his ass at one point.
After Taco Bell.
I'm just gonna say I hadn't really, between riding it around at Mid Ohio and everything, and then this whole week I've been riding back and forth. I'm like, I got a little baboon ass.
yeah, got a little monkey butt going on.
I need to toughen up.
It happened.
I gotta say, porta potties at AMA cleaner than I thought.
Point. No,
Those
this is the
motherfuckers.
first year.
Dude.
They did a much better job this year than they ever
Holy
have.
shit.
I have
Amazing.
never in my life, I was going out of my way at AMA Vintage Days, trying to shit in rare places. Because I know the rare places to shit. I mean, I got a map, a secret map of where you can go shit in air conditioning. And so I was doing that. And then one time I was like, I'm not going to make it. So I had to go to the one right by our campsite. And I was like,
Diagonal.
and I was like, this is not going to end well. And I opened the door and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Did they just bring
Empty
this
it.
one out? And meanwhile, it was Saturday. And I was like,
That was spot on.
that thing was perfect. It was perfectly clean.
And have a sanitizer and everything.
And the
Sanitizer's
shower
full.
houses. I took 2 showers in 5 days.
Get out of here.
Because that was bonus,
I did not,
whatever.
yeah.
Well, it was just luxury. I got up early, whatever. But hot water the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And no kids throwing shit at me or fucking weird stuff.
running up and flicking your dick. And
Yeah, right.
So you mean better than home?
Nobody pointing and laughing.
That's your wife, man.
Every morning. She's like,
we're on the same boat, mister.
Dumpy.
At one point, guys were giving girls coming out of the porta potties free drinks. It was happy hour. Yeah. Like
Oh, you did.
mudslides and
Oh my God.
Do you want a
I wonder who that was. Yeah, right.
We got some painkillers
No, we
over here.
did good. We got
Get the old man across from the porta potties.
Did you wash your hands, little girl? You didn't? Great. Come on over. Get a drink.
No, but the girls were great because they came over. They're like, "Are you serious?" And John's like, "Yeah, it's 11:30 and it's time for drinking."
Right.
And they were like, Okay, then.
Oh, that was 11:30 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and a couple of them were like, "Oh, just let me go to the bathroom first, and I'll come back for the."
Right.
And they
like,
did.
Cool.
They came back.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's Mid-Ohio. Yeah.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
I
the
can't
best
wait
thing
for
ever.
it to come back around
Oh
again.
yeah.
That's it. Can't get enough of it. And again, I know Liza makes fun of me for saying this, but I did stop counting on Saturday afternoon when the 90th person, 90 people, said, "This is my first time at Mid-Ohio."
Oh, because of you guys.
And then many of them added, because I listened to the podcast.
Right.
And so I was like, I had 90 people that were Mid-Ohio virgins, many of which had got there because of listening to our dumb shit.
On Thursday, I got accosted by about 10 people that's like, I'm here because of you guys.
Yeah.
This better be fucking
I
good.
did.
And then Saturday, I got like hugs and fucking like, holy fuck, I'm moving here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we told you.
People are like, you didn't oversell it. And I was like, how the fuck could you oversell this? Straight up, like they chopped my arm off, they sewed it back on, and that was Mid-Ohio. Yay. You know, one-handed clapping for everybody. That's Mid-Ohio. You cannot possibly fucking oversell it.
Who could make up 4 young girls in a fucking unicorn hat beating your ass as you're going as hard as you can on the dirt bike that you brought, that you prepped, that you're on it, and there's 4 fucking girls on a fucking dirt bike beating you with fucking unicorn hats.
Are you still butthurt that they?
I am. They fucking
you can tell he's fucking sore. Right. Yeah.
Because the girl, the last one, the fourth one in the back, was giving me the finger the whole time. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Although I can't stress enough,
I think I broke your bike.
Yeah, you did.
Don't walk. Don't walk. I don't care what you got to do. Right? Blow somebody when they're not looking. I don't know. Don't walk.
I may or may not have broken Oscar's SSR racing those girls.
Yeah, actually, there were 2 broken SSRs by the end of the whole thing.
I broke one.
Kromke's clutch cable and my clutch cable and brake were busted.
That's probably me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm buying.
Oh, and I actually have it on video.
Oh, okay.
And you ate shit.
It was probably me.
And
I did get run over by 4 guys, and I had fucking bruises, so that was good.
Yeah, that's one of those things where not only do you get to see the human carnage that is what AMA Vintage Days can be, but you also get like, it's just cool to just be like, wow, you know what? We can't get weird enough.
No.
Like, despite our best efforts, and Pete did set whole new levels. Oh, yeah. And I don't think that at any point
it felt normal.
I think that we had still
normal.
2 or 3 more bars left to go.
Yeah.
Like, I think we could have raised the bar a little bit and maybe even a little bit more. Would have been fine. I have no problem
I have
with
plans for next year.
that. Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, keep it on the reps.
We need Kimmy to go.
You know what? Come on. There is something to be
You
said.
can get Kimmy on a bike, naked, drinking a bottle of brown liquor.
Yeah.
Rum.
There would be no stopping.
There are certain people in my orbit that I'm just kind of like, you know, this is the person that might not survive Mid-Ohio. This is the person that would either win or die trying. Like, straight up. Yeah, right.
And there's a fine line.
Sorry, it was a fly. I didn't think.
Okay.
There's a fine line between winning and dying too.
Yeah, there really is. I mean, there's absolutely no, there's really no way when you're looking at that particular size of that event and for as big as it is and for the way it just fucking drags on and the way that there's a perpetual sense of, well, if we don't do this exactly right, well, we might get hurt a little bit.
Did Liza's broken wrist ever heal?
Oh, man, that was, you know what?
That was day 1.
That was day 1, minute 1. That was day 1, minute 1, first ride out of the box. And I really straight up did think, I thought for sure that would have been a weekend ending injury. I had very bad feeling about that. And I was happy to see that when she brought it over and I checked it to see if it was broken, I was like, man, if I feel any clicking in here, I'm going to lie. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm totally going to misdiagnose this. Like, I don't care if it's the most broken wrist I've ever seen in my life. It's a sprain. Walk it off.
Yep.
And she soldiered through. Like, she completely 100% soldiered through.
I still have knobby marks on my leg.
Yeah.
I have knobby, like, seriously, it was like fucking checker. It looked like I was a scout tattoo on my fucking leg. It was great.
Once again, I was very happy that Pete took all the heavy lifting for all of us.
Yeah.
Pete, Pete, you're a fucking hero, my friend.
Thank you, Pete.
Remember to, again, ride fast. and take chances. Play us out of here.
Bum, 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 bum.